Okay, everybody, you are listening to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. Good job being here, and good job. Congratulations to Saltu Paul for first comment of the day over on D Live. Oh yeah, baby. A lot of people sending messages saying that they cannot find the episode on YouTube or Rumble. Well, folks, we've got plenty of other places that is not deleting our videos. So remember to head to CanaryCry.Party. We post it with every social post we do, and you hear it here every episode. Go to CanaryCry.Party and explore all the other new, fun, old streaming services and video services that are hosting the videos there. They're all over the place. You just got to look, folks. But while you're over there at CanaryCry.Party, go ahead, join the mailing list. We'll be sending out all the sources every week for each episode. And so it's a great way for us to decentralize those sources and for you to get all the links that we talk about on the show that you can use in your own life while talking to normies or chuggies or whoever you talk to about what's going on, and you'll have mainstream media resources to help you along that journey and help them. What else is there? Oh, and also become a producer. That's very important. It's the only way the show keeps going, folks. If you're out there and you've never become a producer, give it a try. It feels good. You can find those links at CanaryCry.Party as well. Okay, we got a good show coming up. So stay hydrated, buckle your seatbelts, folks. Let's get going.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is October 29th. 2021. This is episode 404. Today, we have a meta error. Basil. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And we're here on a Friday, right before Halloween. My son has turned 1. We have turned the Gregorian calendar.
It happened.
12 months, yes. So
my goodness.
That happened. It's hard chasing around a 1-year-old. I don't know if you've ever had to do that.
It's very spooky, Gonz.
But I wanted to start off by...
First of all,
yes.
Let's play the Friday jingle.
Okay, all right. We'll do that first.
It's Friday.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I am so triggered by that every time. I'm so proud of our producers for creating these things for us. We might need to start taking applications for a new Friday jingle. I just can't handle it. I'm sorry.
The triggering? You can't handle the triggering?
The Rebecca Black MK Ultra mind control experiment that was perpetrated on the world in 2011 or whenever.
You were a victim. You were well into the weeds of the public consciousness masses.
Yeah.
So you were programmed with that. So yeah, you have a visceral reaction to the melody and everything. Yeah.
Every time it goes off, I'm like, must do the lizard people's bidding. So it's not often we purposefully try to call out to replace jingles, but I gotta do it. I can't do it anymore.
But it's for a good cause, and it's not going to go away. Well, if I want to torture you, I can always just pull that up. And
that's true. You can always play it for revenge purposes.
Revenge or reel you in. So, yeah. Okay, I did want to start by calling upon our Prayducers.
Yes.
Prayducers, assemble!
And I'm not saying there's anything going on, but it's so hard not to feel like there's something going on.
What is he talking about?
What am
folks?
I talking about? There's an update on Tom Horn, our friend of the show and everything else. And this is a post that was shared by Sharon Gilbert. And it's an update on Tom Horn from Catherine Horn. Okay. And it says, update, he's still very sick, but he's doing better than he was yesterday. We were able to actually speak to him twice today. He was in good spirits when we spoke to him and seemed like he was feeling better. He said the nurses were taking good care of him, and he was even able to sit up in a chair for a while. His oxygen levels are pretty good and not too worrisome. Continue to pray that his lungs will continue to get better and that the antibiotics keep working. They are continuing to do IV fluids, and he's been able to eat some foods. So good report overall, but not out of the woods quite yet. Also be praying for peace and comfort for our family. These are uncharted waters, and it's very hard to navigate without being able to be with him. Thank you all for all your love and support. We appreciate all of you and covet your prayers.
Yeah.
So there
Amen.
you go.
What was his condition again? Is some sort of pneumonia?
Yeah. It sounded like that's what went down. But yeah, too much of that recently.
Yeah, it keeps getting crazy. And yes, we'll definitely be praying for Tom Horn. Again, another fellow who is, was a big influence on us. And of course, we've done lots of things with him over the years and explored his work. And we're very grateful for his, for what he's accomplished during his time here. And so we continue to pray for his recovery.
Yep.
Yes. So there you go. Prayducers, put it on the list. Okay. Well, we've got a couple of, I have one fun clip that I'd like to play for you, Gonz.
Okay.
Just to start us off before we get into the show proper. And this is regarding a little update on good old boy Andrew Cuomo.
Oh.
That was your cue.
I know. I hit play, nothing happened. Oh, it's because this website has audio problems. Okay, here we go.
News 10 ABC's.
All right, here we go. Come on. Here we go.
Begin with breaking news at 6. Former Governor Andrew Cuomo ordered to appear in court following a criminal complaint in Albany City Court.
Yeah, the misdemeanor complaint was filed today accusing Cuomo of forcibly touching.
News 10 ABC's Jamie DeLine is live outside Albany City Court with more details. Jamie?
John and Lydia, good evening. According to Albany County Sheriff Craig Apple, former Governor Andrew Cuomo will be appearing here in Albany on November 17th at 2:30 p.m. right here, and that is after a criminal complaint was filed today. Now, according to the paperwork, a forcible touching incident is alleged to have happened on December 7th, 2020, around 4 o'clock at the governor's mansion. The document states, quote, Cuomo did intentionally and for no legitimate purpose forcibly place his hand under the blouse shirt of the victim and onto her intimate body part for the purposes of degrading and gratifying his sexual desires. The complaint does not name the victim in the case, but according to the Attorney General's report on Cuomo's sexual harassment allegation back in August, Executive Assistant Number 1 accused the governor of grabbing her breasts. And Albany County Sheriff Craig Apple confirmed his office was investigating allegations made by Executive Assistant Number 1. She has since revealed herself to be Brittany Camiso. No charges have been filed. Again, it's important to note that this is a complaint, and former Governor Andrew Cuomo will be appearing in court here in Albany on November 17th. Reporting live in Albany, I'm Jamie DeLine, News 10, ABC.
All right.
Okay, so there you go. ABC reporting that we have a criminal summons for Andrew Cuomo, which adds to the Cuomo Chronicles, the fall from grace here. Interesting things, first of all, about this report. It's kind of, I don't know, it made me feel weird that they called it a forcible touching incident. It just seems kind of weak. I don't know, maybe that's just the lawyery term for it or something. But it seems like a soft way to say that he's a complete creep and belongs in jail. Now, interesting things about the timing of this. I was kind of trying to scope out the timeline of his whole thing. I believe by the time this incident happened, he was already being accused publicly for other incidences, whether they be forcibly touching incidences or the worse things. So it's a very tight timeline in December 2020. So I haven't quite definitively been able to pin down if there had been public reports out the day. I mean, it was, so the earliest one I could find just in a quick search was a public incident made public on December 13th. And this report alleges this activity happened on December 7th. But I have to think that there was something before the 13th.
There maybe was something brewing just in the background in general when it became public. Who knows which triggered what, but for sure it seems like...
Yeah, I believe that by December 7th, 2020, there was public knowledge, or at least public announcements, that he was a total creep. And
like your interpretation of the actual words, probably. The headlines weren't, he's a total creep, but Canary Cry headlines.
Yeah, I mean, he is a criminally creepy is what is the title I'm putting.
Criminally creepy Cuomo. It was sort of
publicly known that he was criminally creepy, I believe, before December 7th, which means as he's dealing with public allegations, he's still running around doing it. Which just shows
the hubris. He's never
the hubris, just how he thought he was invincible. Now, this is just a criminal summons. This is not charges filed.
Yeah. He
does have to show up in court in November to sort of answer questions. We'll see how far this moves forward. But, it's nothing definitive, but I love that things are still happening to this man, and that the world hasn't completely forgotten about him, and I think he still has some punishment to come. But that's just the next chapter in the Cuomo Chronicles.
Yeah, no, I just found some stuff here. The Nation had a headline on November 26th: "The collapse of the Cuomo-sexual."
Yeah, I found that as well. There was actually not sexual...
Oh, is that the Cuomo? Okay, so this is different. Oh, almost like a linguistic prep for everything to come out.
Exactly. It was sort of a linguistic prep. There was no allegations of sexual misconduct in that particular essay. But that's when it started to be like, hey, this guy's a real jerk and a liar and a corrupt politician. That started coming out in November, a month. And even that... he's under fire and he's still running around sort of violating people. So, it just shows what kind of guy this is. And I I take maybe a little bit too much joy in, him getting what he deserves.
Yeah, I just find it funny that a little Google search shows not just the Cuomo sexual stuff in mid 2020 to late 2020, but also from years ago, and most people know this who know the history. This is North Country Public Radio. Cuomo signs college anti-sexual assault law. That was 2015. And then 2017, New York Governor Cuomo tells reporter her question on sexual harassment is disservice to women and stuff like that. So there you go. That's
his long history of corruption and hypocrisy, the transparent hypocrisy. Okay, with that being said, I think it's time for the Flippy update, Gonz.
Did you pick one, by the way?
I did. We're doing Flippy in space.
Flippy update. Do you want fries with that?
All right, folks, Flippy is up there. Firmament Flippy. He's trying to break on through to the other side, but TechCrunch.com is reporting Gitai successfully demos autonomous robot inside the International Space Station. And it goes like this. Tokyo space startup Gitai Japan successfully conducted a technology demonstration of its autonomous robotic arm inside the International Space Station last week, a key milestone as the company prepares to provide robotics as a service in space. Just a quick note. Robotics as a service is a very important thing to keep in mind.
RAS.
Yeah. What their business is not selling robots to space companies.
Yep.
Their business is renting robots to space companies. The S1 robotic arm performed 2 tasks: operating cables and switches and assembling structures and panels. These tasks, common crew activities, can be used in a general purpose way for a range of in-space activities. The successful demo raised that what NASA calls the technology readiness level of the Gitai robot to TRL-7. We've got a level 7 Flippy in space, Gonz. There are 9 TRLs in total, and hitting all of them would be critical for Gitai commercializing its robots. The demonstration was performed inside Space Station NanoRacks Bishop Airlock, the world's first and only commercial airlock to be attached to the exterior of the station. NanoRacks, which announced the plans last week to launch a fully private commercial space station with Voyage Space and Lockheed Martin, also furnished on-orbit operations, data downlink, and the launch opportunity. Gitai's robot arm was sent to orbit aboard a SpaceX Dragon capsule, part of the launch company's 23rd commercial resupply services mission at the end of August. The Japanese startup is developing robots for a range of general purposes in space, including on-orbit servicing of spacecraft, construction, or manufacturing tasks. The next step for the company is to test the Gitai robot outside the International Space Station. Quote, "The success of this investigation proves that the Gitai robot can be a solution for space agencies and commercial space companies looking for a versatile, dexterous, relatively safe, less exposure
relatively
to life relatively safe.
If you're in its way during a program thing, unless they have sensors,
stay outside the safety cage. And inexpensive labor force. NASA said in a tech demo update, quote, "Providing this option further the goals of the commercialization of space." And I think that's a key point here. Remember, Flippy on Earth Flippies, they are primarily a commercializing labor force. That's their whole thing. And putting this Flippy in space is primarily a commercialization of space. You know, that's part of the whole program there. Gitai doesn't want to just build robotic arms, however. The company's long-term vision sees robots as key tools for building space colonies on the surface of the moon or even Mars. This robotics workforce could be the answer to accelerating human presence in off-world environments. Earlier this year, the startup closed a $17.1 million Series B funding round to hire and accelerate the development, blah, 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 blah. Oh, satellite servicing tech. Blah, 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 blah.
Build back better. Blah, blah, blah.
Sorry, I was trying to get the ISO blah, blah, blah. I hit the wrong one. But okay.
That's okay. We have multiple different Flippies in space now. This is sort of a mini Flippy for inside the space station. Undoubtedly, this Gitai arm is still controlled from the ground, which is interesting. You know, you have an entirely different, almost entity, operationally at least, another entity up there being controlled by Japan.
The hive mind. It truly is. Like, these avatars in space, quote unquote, is controlled by like a large team of people down on the ground.
Yeah, and with the International Space Station, you know, control of different parts of the space station are sort of becoming more and more decentralized.
It's a perfect example of the true hive mind of the technocracy, transhuman future, where you have one higher than, or some kind of, perceived intelligence in a different space through a different medium. And by the way, the footage of this thing is the most footage I've seen of any of the so-called space robot arms, and it's pretty impressive. I mean, it is like, hey, we're here, we're in the dystopian sci-fi future.
It totally does its job. It seems to do its job fairly well.
Yeah. So anyway, there you go. I mean, I keep looking at the footage, being pretty amazed at all the little things it can do, but keeping in mind that it's controlled by a team.
It's that general purposeness of this arm that sets it apart from other robotic arms as well.
Right.
Most Flippies, they have one job and they do that one job, flipping burgers or, something like that. This being a generalized instrument is a big step, again, just sort of in the generalized implementation of robots in space, but also here on the ground. I mean, this is basically this robot space butler.
Yes. Sorry, I saw that Ciara was telling us you sound like you're in a bathroom today.
Oh,
I know you're not.
Yeah, but maybe I can move this microphone a little closer.
Yeah, we'll see.
I was a little bit
boosted a couple
far
decibels for you too.
Okay,
so
we'll see how that works out. I also did have some sound paneling fall down in my office, so I'm a little bit less cushioned in here. So that might be what she's hearing.
By the way, they just showed some footage back to the robot arm here, Gitai. The team, celebrating after completing one of the missions or whatever. So it's the same kind of thing, as any space team, but there's just a couple guys in front of computers.
Yeah. So either Flippy is in space or Flippy is in, a sound stage in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Convincing us all that space is real.
Yep.
Effectively. Okay. There you go. That's your Flippy update for the day, folks.
All right. Well, the more we go outward with the space thing, we're also walking into a computer.
Big news.
Big, I guess.
Big news. A day after we went on our Metaverse rant on Monday.
Yep.
I guess 2 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is funny because in that Metaverse rant on Monday, we tried our darndest to convince you that this Metaverse thing was serious.
Yep.
And it may sound silly and you don't have to participate, but this is a real thing, a real direction that major economic forces are moving in our world. And 2 days later, Mark Zuckerberg delivered on that promise.
Yep. This is CNBC.com. Facebook changes company name to Meta.
Mm-hmm.
Real creative. Good job, team. That was one of those linguistic moves of completely controlling the entire concept, calling themselves, and their ticker symbol being MRVS or whatever.
MTVR or MTVS, I think.
MVRS, according to the article here. So Metaverse.
So close.
Yeah. So they are. Right. I think they wanted the VR in there.
You got a clip?
I got a few clips here. This is I think the VP of the whole Meta project talking about some of what they are doing here.
It's important to note these are very much long-term investments. We made it clear on the call this week that over the next couple of years, we're making some fundamental investments on the hardware side and the software side. And the Metaverse vision for us is 5, 10, 15-year journey. So we expect while these investments are important and why we're calling them out, given they're significant, the return from a business perspective may still be a few years out, but it's important for us to get started on them now.
Okay. So
sounds like a very familiar timeline, Gonz. Yeah. Almost like the exact timeline we gave on Monday.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
We're from the future, folks.
So I will mention, for those of you watching, you may have noticed that while he was talking, and this is, what's his name? Vishal Shah, Facebook Metaverse VP, they show the price of the Facebook stock, and they show it briefly as like a top, what do they call it when it's in the top corner? I don't know, there's a name for it, but basically they show
graphic,
there's a graphic in the corner of the top corner. And it shows the price of the stock fall from 323 to 322, and then it goes away, it disappears.
Interesting.
And then when it shows the price later, it's still sitting in that 322 range.
Yeah, and for those who may not be understanding the reference, 322 being sort of a famous occult number connected with the Skull and Bones Society.
Yep. There you go. Anyway, that's a little visual cue from the footage from the first clip here.
Interesting. But yeah, I didn't catch that.
Here's the same guy talking about building new worlds and also why they're making the shift ultimately this is the traditional world and advertising specifically trying to get ahead of the game here.
In the next decade, we hope 1 billion people will be able to use the metaverse and transact with hundreds of billions of dollars worth of commerce, digital commerce. And there's an opportunity certainly there from a commerce perspective.
Wait, hold on. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for people who caught the Metaverse rant, that is beautiful, because that was my main point, which is it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's silly to you. It doesn't matter if you think it's just a video game. What makes it real is the economics of it.
That's the commoditization and all that.
That's what turns it into a real thing, that society happens in the metaverse. And it's not just, some trend or goof off type of technology. It's all about the economics of it. And this is a beautiful clip where, what is this? The head of the metaverse over at
He's the
Facebook.
VP of Metaverse in Facebook.
Metaverse, yeah. He's saying it right there.
Yep.
Yeah. This is a huge economic thing. It's all about money.
1/8 of the world will be on this, and then they're going to buy and sell and do all kinds of stuff. So we want our cut. Yeah, basically.
Gosh, it feels good to be right, Gonz.
I know.
Hundreds of billions of dollars worth of commerce, digital commerce. And there's an opportunity certainly there from a commerce perspective, but also for advertising. As creators build new worlds, businesses create objects, digital.
He pauses after that too. He's like, did I say too much? Well,
it's all about advertising.
Advertising,
folks. My goodness.
This is partly why we need to have a little world in the metaverse for people to find reality.
We're putting together
like an escape pod, just a place where we can preach the truth and then hopefully help people get out of the metaverse.
By the way, just to mention it, I've had a couple of people reach out, say that they want to join the metaverse exploration team, and they are steeling themselves and preparing themselves for the Canarian expedition into little boots on the ground research inside the metaverse. So if you're out there and you're interested in that, send us an email. We're putting together the team, folks. It's going to be some fun live streams when we start doing that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's keep going.
Certainly there from a commerce perspective, but also for advertising. As creators build new worlds, businesses create objects, digital objects and services. The opportunity to make those known to others is something that will be powerful in and of itself. But it's early, and we're starting on this early. We're having the conversation broadly. And it's important to note that Facebook, now Meta, will not be building the metaverse alone. We are going to be partnering with other companies, talking about it more broadly with the ecosystem, because it's too big for any one company to build alone.
Interact with the ecosystem because it already exists without you, Facebook.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, totally. Again, they're trying to sort of take their place on the throne of the metaverse. Yeah. Meanwhile, it's been developing without them fine.
Yeah. Actually, it's been developing probably. It's an era that has gone past now. Now that Facebook is in, it's the good old days already for the traditional people that started this stuff. But
totally. Train Station brings up a good point. He says not just advertising, but deep data harvesting.
Yep, 100%. Into the biometrics. This is where they are able to get to the biometrics and DNA and all that stuff if they want.
Yeah, and continuing with your point, biometrics, facial recognition uses everyone's Facebook photos and other social media. Facebook being a pioneer in facial recognition technology. Yeah, it's all hooked in.
Yep. Here's another 38-second clip. Last one I have talking about heading into the future.
We are very much taking our heritage with us into this future. The simple things like the logo.
Yeah, heritage. Yeah,
the
interesting.
Facebook heritage. Please.
So has the Facebook blue in it. The font is the same as Facebook. We aren't running from our past. We're heading towards our future. And the Facebook product, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, remain incredibly important parts of our overall offering to consumers. We're just more than a social media company. We have been for some time, given our investments in hardware and in things like the metaverse. We are just making that much more explicit now. So we're taking the lessons we've learned certainly into the future, building this more in the open, talking about it now. But it's important to note we're not running from it. We are excited about this future we're building together.
He is well trained.
He has
had some media training, very well executed appearance here. Actually, I am impressed. He is good at this.
Yeah. The Facebook heritage. and keeping it going.
The messaging is on point.
But if you kind of think about it fundamentally, an interesting way to put things, to speak to a generation that knows how to Photoshop and knows how to do all that. He says, we kept the same, culture, heritage. We have the same color and the same font. Okay. Just interesting that's the crux of the argument, and then a bunch of people are going to be younger people will be like, oh, okay, yeah, they didn't really change much except the logo or whatever.
Well, right. And what's funny is PR people and anybody out there listening who's in marketing, that does mean something.
Yeah.
If you're really trying to disconnect from a former brand, you do change the colors, you do change the font. Mm-hmm. But it's funny because he's talking like insider baseball, where like very few people care about. We kept Facebook blue and we kept the font. It's like nobody really cares about that unless you're some sort of marketing and PR person. You understand the sort of impact of that. But yeah, it's pretty funny for him to make a big point. But still, he did a good job.
Going back to this article here real quick, there's a couple quotes from Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. This first one here, quote, "Today we are seen as a social media company, but in our DNA, we are a company that builds technology to connect people. And the metaverse is the next frontier, just like social networking was when we got started."
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong, but also
that's what we've been saying.
Kind of weird.
It's in our that's DNA. Exactly what it is. Interesting.
It's like his little alien DNA. Yeah, he's like, it's my alien DNA that is going to help you create the hive mind.
People DNA to yes.
Yeah. So they're changing
but there
to.
You go. You said it right there. It's the frontier. It's the next step out of this social media thing.
Yep. And we mentioned it earlier. FB is moving to MVRS ticker symbol for Metaverse in the stock market. And then another quote here. "Our hope is that within the next decade, the Metaverse will reach 1 billion people, host hundreds of billions of dollars of digital commerce, and support jobs for millions of creators and developers." Support jobs. That's what it's all about.
Facebook
That's what
job
it's all
creators.
About. No, I'm sure they have their LinkedIn play in the metaverse, like that, because they're getting there first, So they're like, we can do more of a LinkedIn type. I mean, I guess there's some overlap already, but
see, that's kind of the plan. If they can take the throne, much like a physical throne on Earth.
Yes.
What does a king do? He takes taxes from other nobility. Nobility collect the taxes, pass it up to the king.
Yep.
And that's what Facebook is trying to do, take the throne as the sort of center spoke of the metaverse. And, they said, we're going to partner with all sorts of other people. I'm sure LinkedIn will be there. Everything we do now on the internet will have its presence in the metaverse. But their play that they're hoping to do is sit at the center of it and, economically benefit off of everybody else connecting to the metaverse. Hey, you want easy access to 1 billion people in the metaverse, LinkedIn? Just partner with us. We'll take a little bit of taxes from you and you can operate in the realm.
Yeah. I sent a tweet out about a day ago. And I said most people still have websites, but we're going to see tons of companies, organizations, artists, influencers, churches, etc. All have their meta spaces people can visit virtually. Facebook just made the shift into the virtual real estate business with their change to Meta.
Great point.
That's kind of what they're doing.
Yeah, that's another way to think about it. Every business, quote unquote, not every business, but the common knowledge is every business needs to have a website. If you don't have a website, you don't exist. This metaverse thing will be the next step in that. Again, maybe not right away, but in 5 years.
Well, yeah. I think
there will be a Squarespace for metaverse.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm calling it now, baby.
Okay.
Put it in the red book. Let's put this in the red book.
I got to pull it up.
I know it's been a while. Yeah. See, it's been a while since we've actually written one of these things down, but we might as well do it now. I'm thinking Squarespace itself will have a metaverse builder section. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of that.
Metaverse zone, use Squarespace for Metaverse.
Yeah, no, it's much like the gold rush. You know, the people that got really wealthy are the ones that built the tools to go dig for gold. It's kind of like that. There's going to be a lot of outlets and platforms to provide the tools.
It may seem like a long or short timeline to somebody, but I think if Squarespace doesn't have a Squarespace for Metaverse in the next 5 years, they lose. They'll lose the spot if they don't do it in the next 5 years.
Yeah, this is like the Blockbuster to Netflix happening industry worldwide reset, recall, whatever, the whole deal.
If they don't do it in the next 2 years, they're in danger.
Yeah.
Somebody else is going to do it in the next 2 years.
All right, what am I putting down in the red book here?
I don't know. Just put Squarespace for Metaverse.
Squarespace for Metaverse. All right.
Yeah.
It is in the books.
Okay, good. Okay, well, what do we have next?
There's more to talk about with this because, because first off, I think some of the things that people are underestimating about Meta is that we talk about how is VR going to become mainstream, distributed everywhere, all this stuff. I think Meta will play a big role in that because they have not a stronghold, but they do have a whole side of them that is part of the physical rollout of the hardware. Mm-hmm. And so it says here in the article, the CNBC article, back to that one. Over the past few years, the company has ramped up its efforts in hardware, introducing a line of portal video calling devices, launching the Ray-Ban Stories glasses, and rolling out various versions of the Oculus virtual reality headsets. The company has indicated that augmented and virtual reality will be a key part of its strategy in the coming years. Got some clips on that, by the way, some examples. So we'd heard about the 10 billion, and then it says Zuckerberg on Thursday provided a demonstration of the company's ambitions for the metaverse. So, that being said, I would like to present some clips from the metaverse thing that Zuckerberg did.
Keynote?
I guess it's a keynote.
Like a keynote presentation type of thing?
Kind of. I mean, it's a video. It's heavily scripted. Okay, so here's the first minute and change showing kind of what the metaverse looks like. I'll point out some things I noticed, which are not all of them are important, but here we go.
Hey, are you coming?
Yeah, just gotta find something to wear.
Okay, for those of you just listening,
I must wear my human clothes.
He's first off, the message came on his watch in like a little hologram, and then he got to figure out what to wear. He turns around, he faces his avatar.
He's in like a billionaire style apartment, by the way,
on the lake.
Which is, on a lake. There's like snow on one side, tropics on the other. And for those who haven't done VR, this is actually very common.
Yeah.
This is sort of like, and it's again part of the draw, the second chance you get when you're in your sort of main menu screen, basically in VR. You are in a very fancy apartment building, usually has giant windows that look out over some sort of majestic scenery. I am in mine right now, and I'm looking out over about 1,000 miles of very rugged looking mountains. It makes me feel powerful and manly, and makes me hope that my Viking ancestors will smile upon my wimpy 21st century job.
Okay, as we fight the war in our chairs.
Exactly.
Okay, so Zuckerberg, after this little thing here, and by the way, there's more. I think there's going to be more triggering since you have been in the VR world. And you haven't seen these clips, right?
I have not watched these. No, I saved them. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so all right, so here's so Zuckerberg, what he's doing now is he's facing his little avatar 3D hologram thing, and he's trying on different clothes. But if you notice, the clothing he started with is the clothing he ends up with. So, okay, that's a small detail, but I don't know. If you're editing all this, putting all this energy into it, anyway, sorry. Something to notice.
All right, perfect.
And you're in the metaverse.
Oh, hey, Mark. Hey, what's going on?
Hi.
What's up, Mark?
Whoa, we're floating in space? Who made this place? It's awesome.
Right? It's from a crater I met in LA.
This place is amazing.
Boz, is that you?
Of course it's me. You know I had to be the robot, man.
I thought I was supposed to be the robot.
There's an artist going around Soho hiding AR pieces for people to find.
Okay. I feel bad because some of it has to be seen to kind of get what's going on. But
well, just describe it.
Yeah. They once he entered the metaverse, they're in like a little space pod hangout room, and a couple people in there, probably from Facebook employees or whatever. And one of them, named Boz, is a giant robot with a big smiley face.
Yeah, he's inhabiting his dream fantasy form, which is a friendly-looking robot.
Yep. And then it transitions into a call with somebody who sees. Well, I'll play it, and if you don't get it, I'll explain it.
There's an artist going around Soho hiding AR pieces for people to find.
3D street art? That's cool.
Send that link over so we can all look at it. This is stunning.
Okay, so, man, this is harder than I thought it was going to be.
It's not that hard. So they're just hanging out in this little space hangout.
Sure,
I mean, the vibe is they're just hanging out. Then they receive a video message, and the video message is of some girls standing by a brick wall somewhere in Soho. And they're sending out a message that says, hey, there's some cool street art here that you should check out. And then the people in the virtual hangout are like, send it on over. Let's take a look. And they click on the link, and it then shows the street art, which is just some sort of graffiti on a wall, lifts off the wall, and it looks like a big eye.
It is a big giant eye.
Monstrous eyeball that lifts off the wall and then is sort of teleported into the metaverse, appearing around in the virtual hangout space. And that's where we left off. So it's, again, a melding of the real world, or at least making this virtual world as experiential, as important as the real world.
Well, yes. And I think the key there was the girl has the AR. So she has regular glasses on, but she's like tapping on it, like there's buttons on it. Yeah. And the idea is that the augmented reality is going to be the thing that digitally commoditizes the physical world. And this is an example where the art piece, it's just a graffiti on the wall, but the artist has the NFT version or whatever, and that allows it to be this animated version. And that's why they say send the link, to this artwork that's on the wall in this particular spot. It's one of one,
Well, that's a good point. It's an NFT. It's a digitalization of the physical world and a physicalization of the digital world.
Yes. It's the two-way street.
It's the melding. They're trying to blur the lines between digital and reality.
Yep. And then the eyeball forms.
The snake eyeball thing is very snaky. It's like an eyeball made of snakes, which is like, okay, wake up, sheeple.
Yeah, and then there's a spiral in there in the middle, like a circle portal spiral imagery. And I mean, it's got the vortex imagery, the whole deal. And whoever did this kind of knows what's going on.
It's everything you'd expect it to be.
Yep.
All right, let's see what comes next.
So after the eyeball thing, the Boz, the robot, takes him to another location.
Forest room.
Let's see it.
Koi fish that fly? That's new.
This is wild.
And then
this is wild.
And then Zuckerberg gets a call. I think it's supposed to be from his wife.
Hey, one sec, Boz. It's Priscilla.
Hey, you have to see this. Beast is going crazy.
Oh, I love that guy. We've got to show that to the kids. Can you also send that to my dad?
You are incapable of love, lizard man.
My little dog is named Beast. I love that guy. It's a dog. Not a human.
I love that guy. Send it to my dad.
Send it to my dad.
My dad thirsts for blood and hungers for flesh. Send the beast to my dad.
Oh, okay. So it transitions from that whole thing to Mark speaking to you one-on-one in his little virtual home.
That's a glimpse of a few ways that we're going to be able to get together and socialize in the metaverse. It's a ways off, but you can start to see some of the fundamental building blocks take shape. First, the feeling of presence. This is the defining quality of the metaverse. You're going to really feel like you're there with other people. All the subtle ways that we communicate that today's technology can't quite deliver. Next, there are avatars, and that's how we're going to represent ourselves in the metaverse. Avatars will be as common as profile pictures today, but instead of a static image, they're going to be living 3D representations of you. Your expressions, your gestures, that are going to make interactions much richer than anything that's possible online today. You'll probably have a photorealistic avatar for work, a stylized one for hanging out, and maybe even a fantasy one for gaming. You're going to have a wardrobe of virtual clothes for different occasions, designed by different creators and from different apps and experiences. Importantly, you should be able to bring your avatar and digital items across different apps and experiences in the metaverse.
There you go.
Yeah.
And he's lining it up about a minute
he's sort
there.
of referring to the oneness of the whole metaverse, trying to, let everybody, unlike apps where they're sort of different, separate things that you interact with one at a time. He's trying to make the point that, it's all happening at once. It's all mixed together. And we as Facebook will be facilitating it all and scooping up your data.
It truly is the bridge of between the physical world and the non-physical, and calling it official. Like, hey, this is the portal. Come here.
Yeah, it's very very serious business, and I do mean business.
And I think a lot of folks still don't have that realization where you think about social media, your avatar, your little icon that represents you, the implications of how you're basically bringing that part of the whole internet experience to life in this metaverse. You're allowed to just be whatever in this metaverse. Okay, so he then talks about, he mentions a new form of governance, and I think this is where you and Zuck can relate about some of the virtual experiences.
Yeah, I don't trust them.
Beyond avatars, there is your home space. You're going to be able to design it to look the way you want, maybe put up your own pictures and videos. And
by the way, before we go on here, and we made this point in that Metaverse rant a couple episodes ago, before this all hit, but I lost my train of thought.
You didn't take your nootropics today, did you?
I did not.
That's what it is, folks.
Okay. So the World Economic Forum. Yeah, I had a moment. Yeah, the World Economic Forum. Whole deal. You will not own anything. You will like it. And the part they didn't tell you, which is because you will spend most of your time in the metaverse. And this is what you can do in the metaverse.
To look the way you want, maybe put up your own pictures and videos and store your digital goods. You're going to be able to invite people over, play games, and hang out. You'll also even have a home office where you can work. Your home is your personal space from which you can teleport to anywhere you want. Now, speaking of teleporting, there are going to be all kinds of different spaces that people make. Rooms like the ones that we just saw, but also games and whole worlds that you can teleport in and out of whenever you want. Teleporting around the metaverse is going to be like clicking a link on the internet. It's an open standard. In order to unlock the potential of the metaverse, there needs to be interoperability.
Can you pause that? Yeah, he's getting into this, and this is a really important part of, again, the throne that Facebook is attempting to sit on, which is the standards. He's putting it in very sort of PR-friendly language, but technical people will be recognizing a huge power play that he is pulling right here, and that is Facebook wants to be, or Meta wants to be setting the technical standards for how the metaverse works, which is equivalent to like early 90s, which was where the internet was sort of this punk rock, albeit sort of nerdy thing, but was being created by really, individuals, sort of these punk rock nerds who are just creating a world out of nothing. No corporations involved, a little bit of government influence going on there, but it's the setting of standards. The link, we take links for granted. We're just like, oh yeah, it's a link. Send the link. It's the link. Everybody knows a link. But somebody invented the link, the hyperlink, the all these things were created by somebody who was invested in making this weird thing called the internet work. Well, in this case, Facebook is inventing the link, which, is one thing for some punk rock nerd to be like experimenting and creating weird stuff. But it's another thing for an evil lizard person tech giant to be setting these types of technical standards and enforcing standards upon other people who want to participate in the metaverse. Yeah. So this is part of that huge power play. Sorry, I just wanted to translate that because he's making it sound very friendly.
I know.
But it is like a huge deal what he's saying.
Well, just in the data collection angle of it too. I mean, he's focused on what your experience is going to be. He's not telling you all the things that they're able to extract about you from participating.
Yep.
There needs to be interoperability. And that goes beyond just taking your avatar and digital items across different apps and experiences, which we are already building an API to support. You want to know that when you buy something or create something, that your items will be useful in a lot of contexts, and you're not going to be locked into one world or platform. You want to know that you own your items, not a platform. Now, this is going to require not just technical work, like some of the important projects that are going on around crypto and NFTs in the community now. It's also going to take ecosystem building, norm setting, and new forms of governance. And this is something that we're really going to focus on.
Norm setting and new forms of governance.
Yeah.
There you go.
The nation state is in trouble, my friends.
Well, that's the thing. The metaverse this is a whole nother land grab. Completely. So the nations, you better get on the metaverse. You better digitize that White House lawn there.
If you think that it's scary that Zuckerberg is sitting here saying all this stuff, wait until Joe Biden comes on and says, well, we're America, we have our own metaverse, and you got to pay your taxes though. So I wrote the bill. Join the metaverse.
No, the metaverse will have a version of Joe Biden that only whispers.
Hey, look,
everybody's going to be creeped out over him.
My avatar is a cool robot. I picked the robot skin. You have a robot president in the metaverse. Pay them more. Get vaccinated.
Okay. A little sidetrack there. Here's Mark Zuckerberg talking about privacy. I'm glad he's, concerned about that.
Privacy and safety need to be built into the metaverse from day one. You'll get to decide when you want to be with other people, when you want to block someone from appearing in your space, or when you want to take a break and teleport to a private bubble to be alone.
Black Mirror. You're going to be. There is a literal Black Mirror episode about blocking people in real life.
Yeah.
That is all. Yep. That is all. This is just literal science fiction dystopia with cute bubble music and you're the world's most friendly lizard person trying to convince you on your new digital prison and how fun it will be.
You can teleport to a private bubble to be alone. You're going to be able to bring things from the physical world into the metaverse.
There
Almost any type of media that can be represented digitally, photos, videos, art, music, movies, books, games, you name it. Lots of things that are physical today, like screens, will just be able to be holograms in the future. You won't need a physical TV. It'll just be a $1 hologram from some high school kid halfway across the world. And you'll be able to take your items and project them into the physical world.
Hold on. Let me hear that part again.
Some high school kid halfway across the world. You don't need a physical TV.
Child labor.
That's child labor, but also taking advantage of these kids that come up with software. Oh, you just pay $1 from some kid.
Strange.
It's so weird.
Yeah, what a strange thing to brag about. Well, we don't like. There's laws against child labor creating TVs, from kids in China. Well, don't worry. Now it's a kid programming a digital TV in India, and so you can feel good about.
It'll only be $1. That is really weird that they left that in there.
I know, man. It's just so weird, and without. All you got to do is think about what he's saying for 1 second. And they have so many flashy graphics and cool things and bubbly music. And they gave Mark Zuckerberg a sort of friendly countenance. But you just think about it for 1 second and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the worst possible thing that humanity could do to itself. Normalizing child labor. It is normalizing, the lack of physical goods. He's just describing Ready Player One. You don't need, and, right along the Klaus Schwab, you'll own nothing and you'll like it. You won't own a TV. You'll pay $1 to get a digital hologram.
Hologram. Man, it'll be $1. All right, continue on.
We'll just be able to be holograms in the future. You won't need a physical TV. It'll just be a $1 hologram from some high school kid halfway across the world. And you'll be able to take your items and project them into the physical world as holograms in augmented reality too.
Ooh.
You're going to be able to move across these different experiences on all kinds of different devices, sometimes using virtual reality so you're fully immersed, sometimes using augmented reality glasses so you can be present in the physical world as well, and sometimes on a computer or phone so you can quickly jump into the metaverse from existing platforms. There are going to be new ways of interacting with devices that are much more natural. Instead of typing or tapping, you're going to be able to gesture with your hands, say a few words, or even just make things happen by thinking about them.
Wow.
Make things happen by thinking about him. I wonder who's building a product that can help do that.
Some sort of brain-machine interface, perhaps?
Yeah, maybe and I think the U.S. government wanted to get involved in the exporting of that technology as well.
We just covered the government's export controls on brain-computer interfaces.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. And of course, we know Neuralink and his Elon Musk's happy little pigs. It's all part of the metaverse, baby. Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
It is. So this is. I didn't know that he had a whole separate social media platform built into the whole metaverse, but I guess that's what he's doing too.
Horizon is the social platform that we're building for people to create and interact in the metaverse. One part of this is Horizon Home, which is our early vision for a home space in the metaverse. Horizon Home is the first thing that you'll see when you put on your Quest headset. Today, there are already a bunch of options to choose from, and in the future, anyone will be able to create one. We've just called it home until now because it's been missing something very important. People.
People. There's no people in this little home universe. Except Basil. Basil was there.
I was there.
Yep.
I'm there now.
There is Horizon Worlds, which is where you can build worlds and jump into them with people.
Yay.
And we also just launched Horizon Workrooms earlier this year for collaboration.
Basically taking the Minecraft concept.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who have kids who play Minecraft out there. That's the majority of that game is just building your own world. Well, Zuck stole that one too.
I wonder if we're going to start saying, like, instead of, hey, do you have a website? You say, hey, you have a space? Yeah. What's your space?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how the language evolves around this.
I think that's part of it too, that he's legitimizing certain concepts, you know, like a space. He mentioned space a few times. And not necessarily just outer space, but these virtual spaces. Again, psychologically manipulating our minds to think of them. Think of them as one thing, as a dimensional change thing.
The social safe space movement, stuff like that.
Beyond Horizon, we're also making it easier to communicate with your friends across different layers of reality. This year, we're bringing
reality. He's Facebook is
just one layer of reality, baby.
We got multiple layers of reality.
Here, we're bringing messenger calls to virtual reality. You're going to be able to invite your friends to a messenger call, and soon you'll be able to explore somewhere together or join a game. Now, these are the kinds of tools that need to get built so that you can jump into the metaverse with your friends from anywhere.
It's going to happen.
We got to get through this.
It's happened.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah.
I'm just going to get through a couple of these things here. First off, the Daily Mail US did a poll and asked, will the new name help rescue Facebook's reputation? As of the screenshot here, 8,093 votes, 90.7% said no. No, Facebook will always be Facebook.
Funny. Wow. Yeah, you know what? You know what I love about that poll? It just shows that people aren't idiots.
No.
There certainly are idiots, but they are overestimating the amount of idiots out there.
Yeah. All right. And there's a Scientific American article here. It's an opinion piece. And, we spent so much time going through some of the other stuff that I don't know that we have time to go through everything here.
Yeah, we kind of already touched on this, but maybe just mention it because it's from Scientific American. If somebody's looking for, another source besides the lizard man himself.
Right. Yeah, it's a Scientific American article. The headline is, Should Big Tech's Plan for a Metaverse Scare Us? And there was a part that I thought I highlighted. It's not super long, but I wish I could dismiss the metaverse, and especially the version based on brain implants, as silly techno hype, but scary things that once seemed inconceivable have been happening lately. A thuggish buffoon becomes the most powerful man on Earth. A plague sweeps across the planet, killing millions and forcing survivors to wear masks and keep a worried distance from each other. Given the world's unpredictability, I have a hard time ruling out the possibility that an unholy alliance of big tech and the military will foist an implant-enabled metaverse on us. After all, as the real world gets scarier, the metaverse might become more and more appealing. In our frightening future, the metaverse, not religion, might serve as the opiate of the masses.
That's Ready Player One right there.
There it is.
I love it. You have Scientific American basically describing the mark of the beast and fearing it.
Yeah.
And also recognizing that, the world has become such a place that people want to escape it already, and that your only way of doing so will be signing a user license agreement with Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark and his beast.
Yeah.
The dog.
Yeah. Beast, send it to my dad.
There's a part of me that's like, if the prophecies, Revelation 13, the mark, all that stuff had literally to do with actually Mark Zuckerberg and his dog Beast.
That's funny.
That's
really funny.
Yes, none of us saw it coming.
No.
The dog dies. He resurrects the dog in front of everybody.
Decades of...
The beast lives. Make an image to the beast. Everybody has to get the dog NFT, and if you don't, you get
decades of theorizing about the mark of the beast. Nobody could have saw this coming. Also interesting from Scientific American, making the connection with the Mercer box, the Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep version of religion, where you have this box that serves as a empathy, they call it an empathy box, and it's sort of the techno-religious implementation. Again, without naming it specifically, which we've been naming it for years now. Scientific American sounds like somebody over there has been listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
Yep. There's some additional stories in the additional stories section in the show notes that have reference to the stuff we've been talking about here. Revolutionary brain implants helps blind people see without eyes. And that'll be a big thing, to have actual blind people hanging out in the metaverse, because they can.
Yeah.
And then, a couple more. So let's see. Oh, I had another thing here about we've been hanging out in the metaverse for a while today.
I know. Why don't you close it up? Or choose something to close it up with.
Yeah,
and then
I was going to talk about the Cyberpunk that allegedly sold for $500 million in the last day. I think it was yesterday. there was something called a flash loan. Mm-hmm. And do you know what a flash loan is?
Not really.
Well, this is the kind of economic stuff that will take place as we walk into the metaverse here. And basically what it is you somebody builds a smart contract, which is these algorithms on the blockchain that simultaneously does multiple transactions, which is you borrow money and you have this large amount, and then you play or sell or do something, and then you pay them back in the same transaction. It's called a flash loan. So you literally borrow the money, you make the transaction you're borrowing the money at the same time you're making whatever transaction you plan to make, and then the money goes back to the investors.
You're borrowing, you're purchasing, you're selling, you're paying back all in one transaction.
All in one thing, yeah.
Weird.
So one guy made this or wrote this thing and did a flash loan. I'm sorry, not write it, but just used the flash loan thing here. And I guess the story is, and I don't know for sure, I haven't done all the analytical testing or whatever, but what I've heard is that the guy basically sold it to himself, so he didn't really spend that much money. But there was an actual transaction that took place, even though there's a couple places that aren't calling it official. But just strange things where it's like, I didn't even know there was a thing like that in the traditional world, but now we're going to start seeing stuff like that, economic warfare in a different way.
Yeah, well, and when it can happen so fast and have some some layer of authenticity using the blockchain, authentication. That's the authentication is what slows loans down and things like that, and that's why you have so many middlemen and escrow and all these people involved in loans, is because authentication is the number one thing. And with blockchain, automatic instant authentication on things takes away a lot of the friction in that process. So, very interesting. All right. Well, we'll do a deeper dive into that some other time. Let's talk about COVID and the vaccine real quick.
COVID-19, 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 yes. COVID-19, COVID-19, coronavirus. Vaccine, number one way, folks. NPR.org has a headline here. ERs are now swamped with seriously ill patients, but many don't even have COVID.
What?
Which isn't...
I thought we were in a crazy
funny
pandemic.
Way to put that.
Okay, all right.
ERs are swamped with seriously ill patients, but many don't even have COVID. As if COVID is like the only thing that you can be seriously ill with. I don't know. This is shining a strange light on the mind control.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, oh my gosh, can you believe somebody got sick with something besides COVID? It's ridiculous. Anyways, it reads like this. Inside the emergency department at Sparrow Hospital in Lansing, Michigan, staff members are struggling to care for patients who are showing up much sicker than they've ever seen. Ever? ER? Ever? Tiffany DeSang, the emergency room's nursing director, practically vibrates with pent-up anxiety. You and me too, sister. Looking at all the patients lying on a long line of stretchers pushed up against the beige walls of the hospital's hallways, quote, "It's hard to watch," she says in her warm Texan twang. But there's nothing she can do. The ER's 72 rooms are already filled. Quote, "I always feel very, very bad when I walk down the hallway and see that people are in pain or needing sleep or needing quiet, but they have to be in the hallway with, as you can see, 10 or 15 people walking by every minute. It's a stark contrast to where this emergency department and thousands others were at the start of the coronavirus pandemic. Except for initial hotspots like in New York City, many ERs across the U.S. were often eerily empty in the spring of 2020.
Oh, really?
Weird.
Interesting.
That's not what the news told us. The news said that the ERs were swamped and bodies were piled up in trucks.
Somebody
NPR
wasn't looking at the data.
When they get the data.
NPR sort of changing a little ministry of truthiness here, sort of changing the past.
Yeah.
Terrified of contracting COVID-19, people who are sick with other things did their best to stay away from hospitals. Visits to emergency departments dropped to half their normal levels, according to the Epic Health Research Network, and didn't fully rebound until the summer of 2021. But now they're too full, even in parts of the country where COVID-19 isn't overwhelming the health system. Patients are showing up to the ER sicker than they were before the pandemic. Weird. What has changed, Gonz? I mean, all
suppressed
these people,
immune systems
all
from all
people
the
have. Yes, they've been staying inside and they've got their vaccine. Why are they getting sicker than they ever have before? Their diseases more advanced and in need of more complicated care. Months of treatment delays have exacerbated chronic conditions and worsened symptoms. Doctors and nurses say the severity of illness ranges widely and includes abdominal pain, respiratory problem, blood clots, heart conditions, and suicide attempts, amongst others. But there's nowhere to put them all. Emergency departments are ideally meant to be brief ports in a storm, with patients staying just long enough to be sent home with instructions to follow up in their primary care physician or being sufficiently stabilized to be transferred upstairs into inpatient units or the intensive care unit. Except now, those long-term care floors are full too, with a mix of COVID-19 and COVID and non-COVID-19 patients. Why'd you even have to say that?
Well, you can replace it with anything, a mix of cancer and non-cancer patients.
A mix of a mix of irritable bowel syndrome and non-irritable bowel syndrome. That means people coming to the ER being, just a little tapping into the mind control for everybody there. Yeah. That means people coming to the ER are being warehoused for hours, even days, forcing ER staff to perform long-term care roles they weren't trained to do. At Sparrow, space is a valuable commodity in the ER. Oh, they should look into the metaverse. Lots of space.
There you go. Metaverse. See how it changes the meaning? I think we'll have a time when a bunch of people in hospitals are basically traversing the metaverse. It's going to be a
metaverse. Metaverse.
It's going to bring the world together.
Metaverse ER appointments, metaverse doctor's appointments. That is so close. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
A separate section of the hospital was turned into an overflow unit. Stretchers stack up in the halls. The hospital has even brought in a row of brown reclining chairs lined up against the wall for patients who aren't sick enough for a stretcher, but are too sick to stay in the main waiting room. Still, some of the patients in the brown recliners are hooked up to IVs, while others talk quietly with medical specialists who sit across from them holding clipboards perched on wheeled stools. There is no privacy. As Alejos Parientos just learned, he came to the ER this particular morning because his arm has been tingling and painful for over a week now.
Oh.
Which arm?
Yeah, which arm
was it?
And why?
And
was
why?
there
is there
injection of some kind that took place
new in that arm? Yes, why is that arm tingling? He can no longer hold a cup of coffee. A nurse gave him a full physical exam in the brown recliner, which made him self-conscious about having his shirt lifted up in front of strangers. I felt a little uncomfortable, he whispers, but I have no choice, I'm in the hallway. There's no rooms. Sounds like a job for the metaverse. Quote, we could have done the physical in the parking lot, he adds, managing a laugh. On the other side of the ER, beyond a warren of identical-looking hallways and heavy double doors that can be opened only with an employee badge, is Sparrow's ambulance bay. 70 to 100 ambulances pull in each day. It's a lot, Dusang says, watching emergency medical service teams wheel their patients over to the triage nurse. It's the highest I've ever seen in my career. That is interesting. What is this place? Sparrow Hospital in Lansing. How big is Lansing that they're having 100 ambulances a day? Yeah, about 3 times a week, the ER arrives at a point where it just can't take any more patients, she explains. Then it sends out the alert for ambulances to divert patients to other hospitals. But that's a risky move because Sparrow is one of the only hospitals in this part of the state that's equipped to handle severe traumas. Dusang says it feels like waving the white flag. Quote, but you do have to do it when you feel unsafe, she says. Okay, then it goes on and on about how there's so many ER patients. Sorry, there was a part I wanted to skip down to. Was there anything in here you wanted to skip down to?
I don't think so.
They talk about how it affects patient care. It's hard to give everybody the care they need. The burnout effects on nurses and staff.
And new nurses,
especially among nursing or just staffing issues. Of course, they kicked out all the non-vaccinated nurses, and so staffing is an issue. So I can't find it. But long story short, there you go. It goes on for about 100 more paragraphs. But having a lot of problems over there at Sparrow, and they make a big point to make sure it's not COVID. COVID is not responsible for this whole thing, which matches up interestingly. I mean, if you're looking for a political angle to this, of course, Biden must show improvements on the pandemic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's to that point. His poll numbers are so low. The administration is so sort of despised because of the pandemic that I think the word went out. Hey, you can report on stuff, but don't say that COVID is doing it. You've got these numbers. It's something like infection rates are down 60%. Things like this, as we're making vaccines available to 5-year-olds. Oh, the COVID's down 60%. Vax the kids. That type of thing. So I think part of the messaging we're getting from NPR here is things are bad, but don't worry, it's not COVID. It's something else.
It's not COVID or the vaccines.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
They never do really give a reason for it either.
No.
They're just saying it's mysteriously horrible.
Who wrote this? Kate Wells, who wrote it? Or said it? I don't know. Focus quite a bit more on the setting, really coloring the picture of the doors and the walls and all that kind of stuff. Like real important stuff.
Referring to the hospital as a warren, a rat's den, a warren. Like, okay, whoa, bro.
Okay, so this is from UPI.com, the headline here. Antidepressant may boost recovery in people with severe COVID-19, study finds. Oh, just antidepressants, huh?
Yeah, this is interesting.
After all the hubbub with vaccines and all that.
We talked about this months ago. I mean, actually, almost a year ago now. We were talking about this early 2021. How antidepressants were sort of showing promise in fighting COVID, but this came out yesterday, 2 days ago?
Yeah, a couple days ago. The antidepressant drug fluvoxamine.
Oh,
it's fluvoxamine.
Fluvoxamine,
reduces the risk for prolonged hospital stays in people with severe COVID-19. A clinical trial published Wednesday by The Lancet found.
The
notorious
redeemed, the once shamed and apparently now redeemed medical journal.
Of the 741 patients given the drug as part of the study, 11% required physical treatment for more than 6 hours or were hospitalized, the data showed. In comparison of that 756 people who received a placebo, 16% needed physician treatment for more than 6 hours or were hospitalized, the researchers said. The results suggest that the drug, typically used for depression, also can be used to treat those at high-risk patients with early diagnosed COVID-19 and reduce their need for prolonged observation in an emergency setting or hospital, they said. I mean, at this point, it's really ridiculous.
Trippy, man.
Yeah, because all this time in this last year and a half, this is probably something that could have been more out there and utilized other than fear.
Well, they can't do that because if you say that there's a pill that helps you from COVID, then you won't get vaxxed. Especially if it's an off-label. Especially if it's an off-label use. Suddenly it'll be
horse antidepressants. People are taking horse antidepressants to fix COVID. This is an unapproved, unstudied thing. You can't give horse livestock antidepressants. Joe Rogan's a crazy person. Yeah. No, it's not going to work. Now, that's one side of it. The other side of it is, first of all, I have not read through the whole study. I'm very curious what they think the mechanism of this is. If it is some sort of physical mechanism, you know, in the antidepressant. If it's not some sort of physical mechanism, how much of COVID is mental, like neurological or mental? Mind, that's a big question. I don't know. I'm admitting I have not read through the whole study, so I'm not sure exactly what this mechanism is, but I'm very curious about that. And thirdly, another possibility, you know, hey, if imagine a world where the FDA approves this antidepressant as some sort of therapeutic, or even more exciting, what's the word, where you take it beforehand in order to prepare to not get a disease.
Preventative or something?
Yeah, preventative. There's a fancier name for it, but sure, we'll do preventative. Somebody in the chat, give me that word. What's the name of the thing where you take it if you're expecting to maybe come in contact with the disease? So if this is found as some sort of preventative, suddenly, hey, instead of, okay, you silly people, you didn't want the jab, and the jab sort of prophylactic. Thank you very much, Kenga legs.
Prophylactic, yeah.
Prophylactic. So if this antidepressant turns out to be some sort of prophylactic, I mean, now you've got the government who previously mandated a vaccine. What if the government comes out and mandates everyone take an antidepressant? Now you've got the whole country taking antidepressants. I think a boon that is the play for the pharmaceutical industry, and also a great solution to the country's mental health crisis.
It's the soma.
It's the soma, exactly. Equilibrium, anybody? It is exactly the movie Equilibrium. Society continues to move as long as everyone takes their daily pills and stay medicated by mandates.
And hanging out in the metaverse. They got to have everybody drugged to do that.
Exactly. You're all stoned. Well, here's okay. I don't want to mischaracterize antidepressants. Antidepressants, for the most part, are not sort of like a stoned experience. That's sort of a stigma that is troubling. So it's not that, but it certainly takes away some of your worries, some of your anxiety,
mood enhancer type of thing.
These sort of psychiatric medications are more complicated than you and I could understand. But the fact is that if it's an official prophylactic, now I'm just in conspiracy world here, folks, of course. Okay, so I have no evidence for this, but imagine a world where it's recognized as a prophylactic. The governments of the world have already shown that they're not afraid of mandating things, and that most people
mandating medicine specifically.
Yes, mandating medical interventions, and everybody takes your soma every day, and you're not too worried. You're not anxiety ridden, so you're not thinking about what the government's doing. You're not thinking about horrible things going on Facebook. You're not thinking about any of that stuff. You just tune into the metaverse, fly through a beautiful jungle that some Zuckerberg lizard person has created, and enjoy the flashy colors and the expansive world you can live in the metaverse, and don't think about anything else. And you're safe from COVID, and you're doing your duty as a good citizen.
Well, we should do our duty as good citizens and thank some people that make the show possible. Yeah.
It's break time.
That's right, folks. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. After the break, we're going to be checking in with Space Pope Reptilian again. Every episode recently has had pretty important Space Pope Reptilian news.
Yeah.
And of course, Joe Biden is involved in this one. Also, we'll be checking in with the New World Order and what that looks like during the middle of the show there. So stick around, lots of good show coming. But before that, we want to thank some of our producers. That's right. Now, our producers, who are they? Well, they're not advertisers. They're not pharmaceutical companies. We're not sponsored by Pfizer, unlike your mainstream news shows out there. We also don't give you affiliate codes. We're not trying to, trick you into some sort of pyramid scheme or buy something you don't want in order to support the show. And we're not trying to sell you our own male enhancement pills or freedom phones or whatever. No, we are on the value for value model, folks, which means we create value. We do it 3 times a week. And if you get any value out of this, whether it's entertainment or education, or perhaps you just want to show us how impressed you are with our predictions that sometimes happen 2 days later. Whatever the case may be, if this show is valuable to you, you have the opportunity, and some describe it as a responsibility, to take control of your own media future and support the independent media. That keeps the corporate money out of this show, which means it keeps the corporate influence out of this show, which means we can keep it truly independent. Because once corporate money gets involved, and that includes YouTube money or Twitch money or whatever, we are suddenly held to the standards of being brand friendly. And it's not brand friendly? Calling Mark Zuckerberg a lizard person a dozen times in an episode. That's not brand friendly.
I didn't even get to go into the whole metaverse with Metatron and Metaskitsmazatai.
There is so much more for us to break down about this.
I know,
and it's important, and we're going to do it little by little for you. So keep coming back. So there you go. What do you want? You want some brand-friendly media telling you all this stuff? No, come on, grow up, people. We are here as truly independent media, and it only keeps going if listeners become producers. It's the only way that it works. And so we want to take a second to thank some of our producers for keeping this show going. And you out there, if you're watching live, just put it in the chat. Thank your producers today. If you're listening to this alone, thank God for these producers, because they are the ones who are making this moment available to everyone. So here we go. Let's thank some producers. The first way to become a producer of the show is you can head over to patreon.com/CCNT. That's patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. Now, Patreon. It's a sort of a third-party situation that allows for easy access to monthly producerships, and we thank everybody who comes in to sort of commit to supporting the show. And over here on patreon.com/CCNT, we have, let's see, we got a couple coming in here. First of all, I want to thank Patreon Account of the Year for upgrading their producership.
Thank you, Patreon Account of the Year.
Thank you very much. It's hard enough to get new people to produce. It's even harder to get people to upgrade. Yep. Next, we have producer Ellen S.
Thank you, Ellen S.
Thank you very much, Ellen S. And those are our 2 new and upgrading producers over at patreon.com/CCNT. We also have patreon.com/CanaryCry.Radio. You are currently listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Canary Cry Radio is our interview-style show we've been doing since 2012. Go listen to it. It's got a lot of great episodes that'll help you dive deep into the sort of worldview we're working with here. But we have a new producer over there, and that is producer Warrior Chick Jan.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you very much. Very generous producership over there.
Jan. Yep.
When I was first reading Warrior Chick Jan, I thought it said Warrior Chicken. It's like, cool, Warrior Chicken. No, it's Warrior Chick Jan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Warrior Chick Jan.
And that's it for the Patreon, Gonz. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. A lot of people don't like Patreon. That's okay. You don't got to use Patreon if you don't want. That's why we have CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
That's right. CanaryCry.Radio.com/support is a fun, wonderful place. It's not quite in the metaverse. If we make a metaverse for CanaryCry.Radio.com/support, oh my gosh, it'll be magical. There'll be all sorts of fun stuff there. But for now, it's just a web page, but it's a place where you can support the show, become a producer with your cryptocurrency. If you're a cool crypto Chad, you can come in as a monthly supporter if you want to commit to keeping the show going. That's through PayPal. We appreciate all of our monthly supporters for laying down a firm foundation to keep the show going every month. But if you don't want to commit to things, if that scares you, which, look, I understand, you can go ahead and support the show, become a producer in any amount for a one-time producership. Gonz, who's coming in over there?
All right. First up, we have Aaron J.
Aaron J is in the house, and Aaron J is our resident esports athlete. We appreciate him very much. He is on a streak. He's been supporting the show for 29 episodes in a row. Aaron J on a roll. Thank you very much. He supports the show in the amount of his current Fortnite level, which is always very impressive.
Yeah.
And you guessed it, he's up to level 120 now. And I thought there was a message from Aaron J. Let me go look for it. Aaron J has got to be getting close to
I feel like he's
knighthood.
already. Yeah,
He must
feel like
be
he's
there.
already a knight. Yeah, he knows it too, probably.
He knows it. Remember, now, if you don't know, we have the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, which is a noble place, is an exclusive club of Canarians who
not a secret society though.
Not a secret society yet. Of people who have supported the show in the amount of $1,000 or more. That can be over time or all at once. And here's the thing about the Canary Cry Roundtable. You have to do your own accounting. We don't do the accounting for you. If you think you've reached $1,000 or more, you send us your accounting. We'll just check it real quick, and then you're in. Aaron J., you have got to be getting close.
Yep.
I could not find a note from him. So I will just say thank you very much. Aaron J is our executive producer for today's show.
Where'd you find this?
That's right. Thank you very much. Executive producer, Aaron J.
All right. Thanks, Aaron J. Next up, we have Sean H.
Sean H. And Sean H is coming in as our associate executive producer.
Yeah.
Now, Gonz, have you checked the email lately during the show?
Was there a newer version?
There was a newer version.
Okay,
I made a request, and there was a quick edit, which I appreciate. So I'm going to stall for a second and let you load.
We do have two different ones, by the way. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm not seeing the file.
Interesting.
I see the email, but I don't see the file attached to it.
Oh, did it not get attached? Let me. Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, no, there it is. It's a new. Okay. Sorry, I had another. Refresh.
Why don't you take a second, load that up.
Got it. Okay, first though, we did get two of them, by the way, just so you know.
Play them all.
Okay, so the first one, I don't know which one's which now. They're both labeled associate executive producer.
Let's not talk about them. Let's just play them because we're gonna thank the jingle makers later on in the show.
All right, so
we're just going to do some blind new jingle playing for our new associate executive producer, Sean H.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Oh my God.
Not bad.
That is hilarious.
All right, here's the other one. Nope.
Yes, you are executive associate producer for mission below. Enjoy while it lasts.
Ooh, a little cyberpunk robotic too. Those are fun. I like both of those. Well, there you go, Sean H. You are the first receiver of both of our new associate executive producership jingles. And Sean H. came in with $111.33, which makes him one of our Illuminati handlers also.
Illuminatus!
Thank you very much. And no note, just an American flag.
An American flag emoji.
That's
very,
right.
Very metaverse producership right here.
Thank you very much, Sean H. And this might have been Sean H's first time, which coming in as an associate executive on your first time is very impressive. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean. Next up, we have Scott K.
Big day for Scott K, Gonz. Scott K is on a streak. They're on a streak. And today is Scott K's 66th episode straight in a row. Producing the show, which means it's time for Scott K to execute Order 66.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
There you go. Emperor Palpatine himself, Scott K. And Scott K comes in with 6633, which also makes him an Illuminati handler. Illuminatus! And he comes in with a note, says, made it to 66. Am I at the streak level for the jingle? We're going streaking. Will Ferrell. Yes, I think we should start playing that for Scott K.
Yep. Okay. Does he want it now?
Let's do it now.
We're going streaking! Come on, everybody, we're going! Woo! All right, I'm just going to set that at 66 streak then.
I think so. Yeah.
There you go.
I think Scott K is setting the standard here. Thank you very much. His note ends with, happy to keep producing this great show. Keep up the great work, guys. God bless. Well, God bless you, Scott K.
Thank you, Scott K.
Thank you for your continued support.
Very cool. Next up, we have Heather Russ.
Heather Russ. Heather Russ is on a streak. 19
on a streak.
19
You know I play all three of them.
I know. That was my bad. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Heather Russ has been supporting the show 19 episodes in a row. This is Heather and Russ. They come in for 3333, which makes them an Illuminati handler. Illuminatus! And they sent a note, and the note reads like this. Hey, Gonz and Basil. Since we've been watching your show, it has opened the door for us to talk about God, our salvation, and reading scripture together. You guys have made such a big impact during our first year of marriage. Oh, wow. Congratulations. I don't know if we knew this, but if we did, I'm sorry. But also congratulations. These are critical times. So many are searching for the truth and so many are confused. You have brought clarity and many interesting discussions about what's happening on Earth as it relates to Bible prophecy. We really enjoyed the supplemental shows during your time off. Thank you, Heather and Russ. Yep, that's good. Thank you very much. There's something else for us there. Look at that. Canary Cry News Talk, bringing newlyweds even closer together.
Marriage therapy, our
marriage
our
counseling.
Main thing. Finally, it comes to light.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, and actually, I don't want to say too much, but I had a small email exchange with Heather Russ here, and they told me about their sort of their viewing habits, and they got a very cool system for listening to the show, and they it's like a whole event over there, which is really cool to hear.
Very cool.
So God bless you guys again. Congratulations, and thank you for your continued support.
Congrats and thanks, Heather Russ. Next up, we have Soha S.
Soha S. I think this might be a first timer. Thank you very much. Coming in for $33. Yes, and that is a recurring monthly producership. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
Gonz, I'm going to insert someone here.
Okay.
This is from Little Winged One.
Ah.
Yes. Thank you very much. Little Winged One comes in. And let's see here. Just checking real quick if they're on a streak. We had some latecomers to the producership. So just doing some live on the air admin. Not on a streak, but thank you very much for your generous support, Little Winged One.
Thank you, Little Winged One.
If you want to add that on the list so we don't forget.
Sure, yeah. Next up, we have Joshua H.
Joshua H. Thank you very much. And Joshua H. comes in for 1111.
Yes.
That's it. Do we have a special thing to say about 1111?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But thank you very much, Joshua H.
Yep.
I've never seen that name before. I don't remember it. So I think that's the first timer too.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Joshua. This name I do recognize. Juan A.
Yes. Juan A is on a streak. been supporting the show for 34 episodes in a row. Came in for 1111. Thank you very much, Juan A.
Thank you, Juan A. Next up, we have Morv.
Morv is on a streak. 16 episodes in a row, comes in for 1111. And a note, praying for all my fam who are facing the work mandate. Colossians 3:1-2. If then you were raised with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ is, sitting at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above, not on things on the earth. Amen. Thank you very much, Morv.
Thank you, Morv. Next up, we have Sir Casey, the Shield Knight.
Sir Casey, the Shield Knight. Oh my gosh, we have producerships coming in right now. Naughty, but we'll get to them in a second. Sir Casey, the Shield Knight is on a streak. What a streak. 76 episodes in a row, 1 episode away from 77. Thank you very much, Sir Casey.
Thank you, Sir Casey. Next up, we have Child of God.
Child of God is on a streak. 11 episodes in a row. Comes in with pocket full of 7s plus fees. And we got a note here from Child of God, which sort of serves as an audio receipt also, I think. It goes like this. Dear Canary Cry, please accept this humble donation of 777 with fees for episode 403. What episode are we on right now? This is 404.
404, yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know what happened here, but thank you, anywho, Child of God. I don't know if this was you or us, but either way, thank you for this. This will be my 11th donation using PayPal. Please keep this awesome ministry. May God bless both of you and the Canary Cry family. This popped up when I opened my Brave browser. This adds to your conversation about the metaverse. Oh, see? It's popping up everywhere now. This is from a website called Upland. They are having something called a Spirit Halloween event. NFTs are mentioned. Yes, I did look at this, and I did want to mention it. Upland is sort of a NFT metaverse-based website. The Spirit Halloween stores, the costume stores that haunt empty department store buildings every October, they got in on the NFT Metaverse game.
Oh.
And they're selling NFTs, which are like Halloween decorations that you can put in your Metaverse.
Staying
house.
alive.
Yeah, it's again the economics of it. Yeah. They know what they're doing, man. So thank you for that, Child of God. Next up, I'm going to do one more here, and then I'm going to go through the new ones that came in because they are episode specific, and we need to do that. Who's next?
All right. So next on the list here is Sir Salmon's Night of the Fishes.
Sir Salmon's Night of the Fishes is on a streak. 20 episodes in a row, comes in for a pocket full of 7s and a note. Happy Friday, Canarians. I hope everyone enjoys the spooky weekend. Stay prayed up. Many blessings from the fishes. Thank you very much, Sir Salmons.
Thank you, Sir Salmons. Are you going to read a couple of them?
Yes, we've got a couple more coming in here. This one especially is episode specific.
Okay.
So this comes from Sir Sigra the Beast.
Ooh, thank you, Sir Sigra. Oops. Oh no, what's happening? Oh no. Keyboard switched windows on me. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah.
All right, so Sigra the Beast comes in. He comes in just now with a serious producership. He's coming in. He's going to be joining the ranks of the executive producers.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So let's give him his executive producership.
Oh, hold on. Oh.
Where'd you find this?
That's right. Sir Sigra the Beast comes in with an executive producership of $404 for the 404 episode show number producership.
He must have had an error. He had
some sort of error happened. In fact, I got this error message in lieu of his note. It says here, error 404. Whoopsie doodles. Media narrative not found. Please click here to return to thinking outside the cage.
Perfect.
Oh, that's good. Oh, Sigra, you silly goose. Thank you very much for the producership. And thank you for that fun error message.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That was great. Hey, if you're coming in late, you might as well come in hot too.
Yeah.
We appreciate that very much, Sir Sigra.
Thank you, Sir
Let me
Sigra.
just check these other ones here. Oh, gosh, sorry. I got away from the page. Okay, Sigra was there. Who's this? Okay. Oh, here we go. Gail comes in. Gail M.
Gail.
Gail M comes in. Yes, glad you made it. Gail M comes in. Gail M is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule! What is her number? 43.
Ooh.
She's been supporting the show 43 episodes in a row. Comes in with a pocket full of sevens and a little note. She says, emergency, sorry, XXXX, oh. I don't know if the emergency was being late for producing or if there's another emergency. So we'll be praying for you, Gail. We know things are tough, so we understand. And we hope that emergency is rectifying itself.
Yeah.
Prayers
out for you.
Yes. Yeah. Why don't we call the Prayducers?
Prayducers, assemble!
Yeah. Whether or not there's a new emergency, we don't know. But we're keeping Gail and Gail's brother on the prayer list. Anywho, so there you go. Praying for you, Gail.
Yep.
Okay, we did Little Winged One. Who else? Okay, and then we've got Shagan. We will now be moving into our non-note writing producerships, and I'll just start off with Shagan. Comes in with pocket full of 3s plus fees. Thank you very much, Shane and Reagan.
Thank you, Shagan. You want me to read these? Or
Yep.
Okay.
You can, no, why don't you write in Shagan if you could?
Okay.
And then I'll just run through these.
Make me
Next
suffer
up,
through this.
Yeah, sorry.
Website
we're
very slow response.
We are going to need gongs too here, Gonz.
Yeah,
so
I know. Yep.
First
Multitask.
of all, here we go. This is why we're pros. This is why we get the big bucks.
Yeah.
We got producer Veronica D is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule! 43 episodes in a row. Thank you very much,
you,
Veronica
D.
D. Next up, we've got producer Brant W. On a streak, 27 episodes in a row.
Firmament Buster.
Yeah. Oh,
I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will.
Gotta get some trap music behind that.
I know.
That's my mistake. That's supposed to be 28 episodes in a row. Yeah, so Brant gets double Firmament Buster. Thanks, Brant. Yeah. Pocket full of 3s plus fees. Next up, we have Doctor Who Done Dat.
Thank you, Doctor Who Done Dat.
On a streak. 14 episodes in a row. Pocket full of 3s plus fees. Next up, we have Runk Smash. Runk Smash is on a streak. 29 episodes in a row. 204. We'll read his microfiction next break. And last but not least, we've got producer Ciara, who's on the streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule! That's right. Producer Ciara coming in for 39 episodes in a row. Okay, there we go. That's all of our producers bringing in their treasure to keeping the show going. We appreciate it so much. Honestly, it's I don't know, warms my heart that we're able to keep doing this show because people value it enough to commit to keeping it going. It's the only way we can do it. It's the only way we should do it. And these are people taking responsibility, keeping the show going for the rest of us. So make sure to thank them if you see them walking down the street or something.
Or in the metaverse.
Yes. We're going to have a producership hall of fame in the CanaryCry.Verse.
This is where we can really realize the appreciation for the producers in the metaverse.
That is kind of the fun thing, yes. Once we start putting our toes into the metaverse, yes, we can actually build like the round table of knights and dames and hang up their portraits and things.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's it, Gonz. I think we should get back to the stories, huh?
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Space Pope Reptilian. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
A lot going on there.
Yeah, I'll start out here. You got a clip, or are we going in?
No, I think we're going in. Hold on. What happened to my... Oh, you know what it is? Okay. Yeah, I saw Cuomo in the thing, but it's because the video... Oh, wait, do I have a video? Maybe I do have a video for this.
There is a video on the page. I don't know if it's important or not, but...
Oh,
we can play it.
I have it. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Sorry. Completely forgot.
This is an extremely important meeting for President Biden, both politically and personally. It's his first stop on this 5-day European trip. On the politics side, it's an hour-long sit-down. It's going to cover everything from the COVID crisis to climate change and poverty. But these are two men who've become friends over the years. It's their fourth meeting, but it's the first time that President Biden is face-to-face with Pope Francis since taking office. He's just the second Catholic president in American history. He's also among the most observant presidents that we've seen in decades. He has said his faith is deeply personal to him, that it really defines who he is. He attends Mass weekly. He wears a rosary on his wrist, and he keeps a framed picture of himself and Pope Francis there on the desk behind him in the Oval Office. Now, the fact that the Pope is meeting with the president is a hugely symbolic one, because it's sending a message, a strong one, back to conservative church leaders back home. U.S. bishops, they're just 3 weeks away right now from a big meeting where they're considering an effort to deny communion to politicians like President Biden, who support abortion rights. Pope Francis, he's been very vocal in his opposition to that.
Interesting how they turn it into the conversations about the politics there.
The sentence, Joe Biden is one of our most observant presidents, is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. It took me a second to realize what they're talking about.
Yeah,
but
his Catholic faith.
Yeah, Biden, one of the most observant presidents ever.
Observant
of what?
The examples were, he attends Mass every week, he wears a rosary on his wrist, and he has a picture of himself and the Pope. That makes you devoted? More devoted? I guess.
Yeah, having your picture with a celebrity makes you closer to God, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read a little bit. They didn't mention all the stuff here.
Yeah.
The Vatican on Thursday abruptly canceled the planned live broadcast of U.S. President Joe Biden meeting Pope Francis, the latest restrictions to media coverage of the Holy See that sparked complaints from the White House and Vatican-accredited journalists. The live broadcast of Biden's Friday visit was trimmed to cover just the arrival of the president's motorcade in the courtyard of the Apostolic Palace. Vatican spokesman Matteo Bruni said the revised plan reflected the, quote, normal procedure established during the coronavirus pandemic for all visiting heads of state or government. Okay, if it was the normal procedure,
why is it a big deal?
Why did you ever have a plan to not do it? It doesn't make any sense. That protocol,
and why would they call it, did they say canceled?
They were, they had the plan. The plan was in place to live stream the visit.
Yeah.
And then they canceled it and they said, oh, it's normal. What? It's normal for you to plan it and then cancel it? Is that what's normal? It doesn't make sense. That protocol also has meant an 18-month ban on any independent media being in the room for the beginning and end of the audience, as would normally be the case for a visiting head of state. Canceled was the live coverage of Biden actually greeting Francis in the palace throne room, as well as the live footage of the two men sitting down to begin their private talks in Francis's library, at which time the cameras would have stopped running. The Vatican said it would provide edited footage of the encounter. Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
It's kind of like the moon landing.
Thanks, Vatican.
Don't worry.
We'll give you after the edit.
The Vatican said it would provide edited footage of the encounter after the fact to accredited media. Bruni didn't say why the Vatican had originally announced fuller live coverage, only to dial it back on the eve of the visit. Biden, the second Catholic president, has met Francis 3 previous times, blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Then they go into the bishops thing, who are talking about not letting Biden take communion for supporting abortion. They spend a lot of time on that. So there you go. The mystery, the interesting part about this is the mystery of the changing of the plans, the non-live broadcasting. I think that this has something to do with the response to Nancy Pelosi's visit. That's my thoughts, because all the picture out of Nancy Pelosi, and none of it was good.
It was to save the humiliation, number one, but also I'm going to say what everybody else is thinking. They couldn't keep their anti-lizard cloaks going for long enough. When two powers come together like this, so that they don't have the ability to keep their human.
Yes, when they get too close, their shape-shifting powers go away.
They crisscross, and it gets all out of whack. So they had to make sure the cameras were turned off while they did their whole meeting.
It's suspicious no matter what. And what's funny about this, why I think it's important for us to cover, is that the mainstream thinks it's suspicious as well. It's one thing for us to be sort of fringy conspiracy weirdos and say, yes, it's the lizard people, didn't want anybody seeing their true form. But when it's mainstream media being like, hey, this is
that's
a breach
interesting,
of the free
though.
Press. You're supposed to be, having some transparency. That's another one of these things. Pope Francis has been all about transparency in the Vatican. We're the people's Vatican. This is what we're here for. And yet, of course, they had a good excuse during COVID, saying, no, we can't have extra people in here. But I read another article about this saying, hey, every reporter was vaccinated. Every person was vaccinated.
What gives? We got the jab, so we can do this.
Yeah, this isn't a COVID-related thing. You were going to broadcast, but you didn't. What's the deal? And mainstream media is not happy about this. They are ripping this apart.
Very interesting. It could be the true powers of the world shifting the media stream, the media vehicle.
Could be that they just had so many things to talk about that they didn't want the public knowing about.
Maybe, yeah.
It could be anything.
Well, with this whole thing, of course the Vatican would use COVID as the excuse for anything, even though it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And there was just some info that I came across here that reiterates some points that we've made. Some of the info is old, but
there's all. Yeah, sorry. I don't want to interrupt, but there's also the thing. Was Biden actually there?
Right.
Did they cut it off?
Right.
You don't want to see if it's the real guy or a body double or something like that.
Yeah. I like my reptilian theory.
I think it's the most plausible.
Their flesh suits failing or something. Yeah. They're like, oh no, we can't have Joe roll out there with the tail.
Maybe the Pope was going to start chanting, "Let's go, Brandon,"
in Italian, and then Joe has no idea what he's being saying.
Bambino.
All right, so because the whole thing, everyone kind of is suspicious of the whole pandemic deal, and part of it here, if you go to Jesuits.org, there's an article published June 24th, 2020, Dr. Anthony Fauci and the AMDG Jesuit podcast, how his Jesuit education helped prepare him for the pandemic. And, that's probably true.
That is so funny.
The Jesuits were like, look, you're going to be the guy, okay?
His Jesuit education specifically prepared him for the pandemic.
Yeah,
they couldn't have done it without him.
You're going to be Teflon. There'll be some tough moments, we're going to roll out the dog thing, and people will hate you, but you are in with us, And then, of course, the one that stepped down, which I still think there's something there that we may never know about, but Dr. Francis Collins. This article was back in 2009, and it's from the ChristianCentury.org. Pope names NIH head to Vatican Science Academy geneticist Francis Collins. I didn't realize it was from that long ago. I remember that it was mentioned in something from like 2015 or so, but I didn't realize that it was much older. So there you go. There's your Vatican tie for all the people involved, all the heads of the institutions and organizations, or at least one big branch there, the NIH and the NIAID, that have the Vatican Jesuit connection. And so with Biden being a Catholic, going to the Vatican, meeting the Pope, and then we had that story about the Pope giving a blessing to the Order of Malta or the Knights of Malta to keep doing their thing. I don't know. It just feels like, okay, yeah, this is them kind of moving along with their whole thing and letting it all be out there, but also changing things around, mixing it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. Well, speaking of the New World Order.
Yeah. Ooh, did I not set up a New World Order jingle?
Oh, Gonz.
Oh, yeah, I did. This is U.S. News. MSN.com mirrored it. And the headline here is How Climate Change May Increase Global Conflicts. Of course, we're on the cusp of COP26, the big think tank.
Climate change is going to start wars, basically.
Yeah.
Says you don't believe in climate change. You're a pro-war hawk.
Let's see how this simulation explains it. When global leaders come together on Sunday for the beginning of the United Nations Climate Change Summit in Glasgow, Scotland, one of the top goals will be a topic at the heart of the climate conversation, slowing the increase of the Earth's warming. And if they do not, the increased risk of conflict or even war will be among the many threats that climate change and global warming may pose. A surge of research in recent years.
According to computer models.
A surge of research in recent years suggests a relationship between global warming and the likelihood of conflict.
Oh, please. What is it? I mean, what's rule number one? Causation is not correlation. Correlation is not causation. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
In this article. In a 2019 paper, researchers found that intensifying climate change will likely increase the future risk of violent armed conflict within countries, estimating that climate change or climate variability has influenced between 3% and 20% of armed conflict risk over the past century. Really? How would they define that? I didn't read the study, so look, I don't know all the details, but it's not presented in a way that
because it doesn't need to. That's the thing. You would think in an article like this, they would be like, sounds pretty crazy, doesn't it? Well, here's some details about the study. No, they don't do that because, look, my assumption is that the connection is pretty weak.
Yeah.
And if they told us the reason for this, then people wouldn't buy it.
Wouldn't buy it at all, yeah.
Line
by omission.
In this world where it's not about the actual facts, it's about, feeling like you're on the right side of history. Yeah, sure. I mean, climate change is doing so many other things, doing everything, is ruining the world for so many reasons. Yeah, climate change causes wars. Yep, sounds good.
Sounds about right.
I mean, sure. Why not? I've been led to believe that it will do all these other things. Why wouldn't it cause war?
Yeah. The study also found that if global emission rates are not reduced, the risk of climate-induced violence is 5-fold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Directly. What, do people just get more violent? Because the air is thicker and people are like more irritable and then they start wars?
They did explain it a little bit by saying, it's been getting warmer and there's been more conflicts. So therefore, things warmer, so there's more conflicts. I mean, what do you want us to say? They gave us funding and we did the study.
If it was colder, then people would just be inside.
Yeah, exactly. If they're cold, they're just in by the fireplace. If they're warm, they're irritable.
Yeah, they're sweaty.
Yeah.
Okay, some leaders have since pledged to cut greenhouse gas emissions, but the world is still not on track to slow warming to levels established by the Paris Agreement in 2015, according to a UN report released on Tuesday. Even the new emissions goals set by governments around the world are not strict enough to keep the globe from warming by more than 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of the century, the report found, raising the stakes at the upcoming summit. Quote, every ton of carbon dioxide emission adds to global warming, French climate scientist Valérie Masson-Delmotte, who co-chaired an August UN climate science report, told the United Nations on Tuesday, according to the Associated Press, quote, "The climate we experience in the future depends on our decision now."
Sure.
I mean, in like a butterfly effect way, doesn't everything affect everything?
Yeah.
Increasing the
No, I'm sorry, no comment. Keep going.
Okay. Increasing the possibilities for conflict may also be the mass displacement of people forced to leave areas that become inhospitable, researchers say. But the climate-related events that may lead to displacement disproportionately impact some regions more than others. According to University of Notre Dame Index, the countries most vulnerable to climate change tend to be in the global south, where many already are experiencing armed conflict. So, where there's lots of conflict now, there appears to be more conflict later. In recent years.
They don't mention that a lot of this conflict is because the CIA destabilizes governments and
kills their leaders
and discredit alternative economic systems. And it's...
It's just amazing that this...
The real connection is when it gets hotter, the CIA operatives get all feisty and they just start...
They get sloppy or something. Yeah. They reveal their whole plot and leave traces. I don't know. I don't know how much more we need to read this particular thing, but the general idea here is that, that if we don't take care of it's another fear-mongering propaganda piece. That, if we don't do something about the climate, then we will be violent. It's like, well, what do you mean?
Another canonized verse in the holy scripture of scientism is what it is.
Yeah.
It's just, we said it, therefore it's true, and there you go.
Here are the consequences for your inaction.
Exactly.
Which is questionable. I mean, how many times do people in the public have to be wrong? Al Gore was wrong, and just in my lifetime, it was a big deal. The whole Al Gore thing. Much like date setters for religious
for
prophetic,
the tribulation or the return of Jesus, which so far have all been wrong.
Yeah.
Every date setting for the climate change apocalypse has been wrong. Every single one. It's embarrassing.
There's a website that had a list we shared a while ago.
It was a long
goes back
list
into like the 50s and 40s. And they were talking about the destruction of the earth if we don't change something.
Yep.
Just to note here, this is Financial Times. Climate Capital COP26, how every country's emissions and climate pledges compare. And it's like a little dashboard of 193 countries' historical emissions. So, you can see the analytics of what everybody is supposed to be looking at to make these political decisions, which is nefarious to begin with. It's like, okay, how do we know that data that's in here correlates one-to-one to reality, which is the big question, the philosophical question of this entire era.
It's the core problem with the scientism in general.
Yep.
Just because they say the data exists and you're supposed to just take it as fact.
Yep.
And ignore all of the more sinister things behind the quote unquote data, which is money, mostly funding, agendas of corporations and governments. They just want you to just take the info and run with it.
So they created this thing from data using Climate Watch and the International Energy Agency, and they specifically highlight 5 nations. It's China, the United States, India, Russia, and Indonesia. And there was something interesting in here as I was reading through. It says here, China, the world's biggest annual emitter, they're number 1. U.S. is number 2. Has yet to formally submit its updated targets.
Number 2?
Yeah, we're number 2 in the world. Yeah.
Hey, we got to get polluting, people. We got to be number 1.
We're losing to
China.
We're losing to China. And we're the ones with NASCAR. We have NASCAR. How come? And cows. We eat cows too.
Yeah, what the heck?
How are we behind? Something doesn't add up. Okay. In September 2020, it announced an intention, quote, to achieve the peaking of carbon dioxide emission around 2030, and then to be carbon neutral by 2060. I didn't know this.
What?
So China came out and we're like, yeah, we're on board. 2060 sounds about right, but until then, we
at 2030.
we're gonna peak. We're gonna keep riding this train a little longer.
That is hilarious.
No, it's hysterical.
They literally are just saying. I mean, you go with 2030 agenda, everything. The World Health Economic Forum, the Green New Deal, everything says. Basically, in America, they're like zero emissions by 2030.
Yeah.
And China's just coming out straight up and saying, yeah, we're going to peak at 2030.
The way this train is rolling, we're going to peak out around 2030.
While you guys are all zero emissions by 2030, that's when we're going to be at our apex of pollution. Thanks.
But don't worry. We'll be done by 2060. We'll be carbon neutral.
Yeah, we're on our own timeline. Thank you guys for going zero emissions. That way we can really crank it up
I did not
2030.
Because all the action with China and the restructuring of all their infrastructure seemed like they were on board. And we've mentioned before how they're on board. So, I mean, they are loosely, but apparently they also have their own timeline.
It's that Machiavellian thing. I mean, it's the sinister leadership. Yeah, we'll say we're on board. We'll tell the people and the world that we're on board with their, saving the world thing. But you know what? We're literally going to do the exact opposite of that.
Yeah. And it just goes in a couple things about the U.S., which, whatever. So, interesting thing there.
Yeah, along the same lines, we've got this fun little update here from the ecologist.org.
Yeah.
Ecologist, informed by nature.
And by the way, I wanted to see the legitimacy of this outlet before we decided to go with the article. And just for anyone who is curious about it, the Ecologist is an environmental news and analysis website with focuses on ecological, social, and economic justice. They publish daily. The website started in 2005, and the Ecologist began as a print magazine in 1970. So there's a little bit of history. It's not just some random internet brag or something.
Yeah, they're kind of their own. I didn't track the corporate provenance. They may be owned by some bigger entities, but they're sort of this. Yeah. They at least present themselves as some sort of independent eco news thing.
Still under the umbrella of the whole thing, the whole system
could be owned by Acronym for all we know.
Right. Yeah. They seem to own everything.
Yeah.
Or BlackRock.
The headline is "The Belly of the Beast." I'm probably going to give you an intro and then skip a couple things unless you have some stuff highlighted, Gonz.
I think I might later in the article.
I think the good stuff is way at the bottom. There's a bunch of sort of nonsense in the middle. But here we go. It says, tiny font. Let's go big, baby. There we go. Environmentalism is often experienced as a desire to return to rural nature. From the pastoral sunlit uplands to the ancient forest, yet more than half of the world's human population lives in cities today. We are more likely to be cleaning offices than tilling the land. We need to imagine a sustainable future. But for that to be a realistic possibility and to inform action and policy, it does need to include urban living. We can think of roof gardens and balconies providing hotspots for biodiversity. We can be inspired by the English garden cities of the 19th century, but the level of transformation that is now necessary to prevent climate breakdown and biodiversity collapse requires that we are even more radical in our creative thinking. Let us quickly survey the facts on the ground. There are now as many as 33 megacities around the world.
3 rings.
Each by definition home to 10 million or more residents. The 10 largest cities combined have almost the same economic activity, $15 trillion, as the United States, $18 trillion, by far the largest single national economy on Earth. The Greater Tokyo area is the world's largest megacity with 38 million people living in close proximity, and in 2012 it had an annual economy of 1.6 billion. Tokyo as a city draws in... seems rather small.
Oh, yeah, 1.6 billion sounds...
That must be a typo, because if they're talking about 33 megacities equaling 15 trillion, that has to have been trillion. Okay. Tokyo as a city draws in a huge amount of resources from the surrounding satellite towns, countryside, and overseas, with supply chains stretching deep into Asia and Australia. It consumes a fifth of imports to Japan, which in turn include 105 billion in oil and other fuels each year, and 29 billion in pharmaceuticals. London was once the largest city in the world. It can today claim to be the world's smallest megacity, with just more than 10 million people living in the UK capital. London also consumes a huge amount of resources. Let me keep going. The report, Mark Wingham and Mike Hope work for the Mayor of London, published an input-output study of the city in April 2019, the first time research of its kind has been conducted. The report relied on statistics, and then they talk about, how wasteful London is, all the resources that go into it. The truth of this fiction should have been heeded by ancient Rome. The city is believed to be the first in the world to have reached as many as 1 million residents, and it too depended on long supply chains reaching thousands of miles. Historians argue that the opulence of the rulers and sheer size of the city resulted in the depletion of forest and farmlands as far as North Africa, contributing to the collapse of the empire and the desertification of its hinterlands. London would face its own environmental crisis millennia later. Blah, blah, blah. They talk about more crises.
The Great Stink.
Yeah, the Great Stink, how cities are destroying the earth, things like this. They talk about fertilizer and agriculture and how that's destroying everything. But then they go down to the end here. This is the conclusion, the important part of what they're getting at here. And it's called EcoMegaCity. The dream of living the rural life remains seductive. Ooh. But this is not the best way to transition to a sustainable future. It may be counterintuitive, but we may need to make our megacities more densely populated to make them environmentally friendly. You're right, ecologist.org. That does seem counterintuitive. Especially since you just spent 50 paragraphs telling me how evil megacities are. But okay, what else do you have? It is much more efficient to have people living packed closely together in heat-efficient buildings and closer to their places of work, of leisure, and to family that have millions of people spread out in suburban sprawl and partly developed countryside. This is why older, more densely populated European cities such as Barcelona produce significantly less carbon dioxide and waste per resident than modern car-centric North American cities like Los Angeles. Yeah, burn on you, LA. But we do need cities to be run as circular economies, where waste of all kinds is seen as the raw material for agriculture and production. This was Liebig's original insight. Yeah, so like poop water. Bill Gates' poop water.
Yeah.
That's what we need to survive the apocalypse.
Soylent Green at some point.
Soylent Green, exactly. Yeah. We need to develop symbiotic relationships between city and nature where light is captured and nutrients and materials are continually created and recycled. We must rewild our city parks and gardens, making urban areas human population centers, but also hubs of biodiversity.
Human population centers? Mm-hmm. That doesn't sound dystopian whatsoever.
Above all, we need to abandon the petropolis where cheap fossil fuels support endless global supply chains, and we need to create the ecotropolis. Interesting how they admit cheap fossil fuels. They're like, yeah, fossil fuels are cheap. That's how we got here. Indeed, the eco-megacity, where fecund nature is here and now and not elsewhere and nowhere. Weird. Okay. There you go. So a case being made for Dun, dun, dun. Smart cities, much as how is like depicted in Ryan N's artwork and his graphic novel. It's interesting. We got right to that place in his graphic novel last episode, where it's all about these eco-megacities. No, don't worry, dear citizen. Don't live out in the country. Don't live a peaceful pastoral life living off the land. That's actually bad for the earth. You need to go live in a densely populated megacity. You're easier to control. The facial recognition cameras can get you. And yeah, don't worry. There'll be rewilded gardens and parks where we will survive together.
Yeah.
It's, again, just an article proposing that what already Klaus Schwab, Great Reset, World Economic Forum, the United Nations, every mega organization in the world is, weird how like the evil centers of power want us all to get into one big group in a city, because that's how we're going to save the earth. Climate change is going to cause wars. If you don't want to cause wars, go live in a apartment building and never go out and see the light. Just stay there. Don't worry. We got the metaverse for you. You can just go ahead and jack into the metaverse.
Yeah, you need places, or you at least need to give the appearance or the illusion that they are traveling all over and exploring and living out their wildest dreams. So
yes, and it's hilarious too, because there's a contradiction inherently with these groups. Is they're all about the global community, a global economy. Countries should not be insular. Nationalism is evil. Don't worry about closing your borders. It's all about open borders, no nations, interglobal, whatever economies. That's what's best for the world. And yet, this utopian view of how we're going to save the world from climate change is insular economies. No cross-border exchanges or transaction. No fossil fuel supply chains. There's a transparent hypocrisy in the very core of what we're being sold here. And you know what? In any sales situation, if somebody's trying to sell you something and they keep contradicting themselves every sentence, that's a pretty good sign they're trying to pull a fast one on you. So there you go. You got a baby problem over there?
Got a little one. Yep.
Okay, fun. Does she have anything to say about smart cities?
Do you have something to say about smart cities? No, she has nothing to say.
No. Okay. Well, someday.
Yeah, maybe someday. I was going to say, please stop.
Uh-oh. The violence.
Yeah, the violence.
Father, I crave violence.
Oh, gosh. Oh, hold on.
Have you started the training that we need to direct all that violence towards robots and not our fellow man?
Well, yeah, the little one already has that built in, but the 4-year-old...
fighting the Roombas.
Yeah, the 4-year-old needs to...
I'm telling you, man. Get a couple Roombas, surround them, and put some like pool noodles on them.
Right.
And just start directing that rage towards the robots.
Yeah. Now, I was going to mention how in Chris White's been doing this breakdown of the timeline of eschatology and Bible prophecy stuff, and he recently talked about the 10 kings, and I feel like this type of mega city, if you think about the 10 who were given power and all the stuff in there, Revelation 6 and 13, I think, it does remind me of like or a possible type of 10 mega city centers. You got like a king that rules each one, maybe a metaverse, Facebook, Zuckerverse, is one of the 10 kings, and he's got his whole
Zuckerverse.
He's got his whole world in the little dome where it's all eco-friendly, and it's a gateway into the metaverse through the Facebook thing. So anyway, that they're building it for sure. We know Tesla's involved with all their what did he call it? The gigafactories. That's going to power the
Tesla's
whole world.
Gigafactories. Yeah.
100 of them in the world will power the whole world or something like that, right? So anyway, it just all seems like it's moving in that direction.
I do want to make a comment real quick, because someone who might be new to the show or like new to this kind of stuff, if you read
please don't touch that.
Modern psychiatry or psychology articles or studies and things like that, especially ones that deal directly with conspiracy theorists, the big what is it? Sort of one of the big diagnosis points is, the human brain is just always looking for patterns, They're just always looking for patterns. And conspiracy theorists, they just see patterns like where there isn't one. Like, it's not their fault. Their brain is just looking for patterns, and they just find them when they feel like they've lost control.
Yes.
And it's always kind of insulting, because they're literally saying to a conspiracy theorist or conspiracy analyst, don't believe your own eyes. Don't believe your own logic. Don't listen to what makes sense. You're seeing something that connects to something, and you can see the big picture, but don't believe yourself. Don't believe your own senses. Believe us, the psychological professionals. You're just imagining things. Now, of course, there are really serious mental issues that does get out of hand. But when you look big picture like we do on this show, and all motivations and incentives across the world are all leading towards one thing, such as EcoMegaCities and how it's connected with everything else. Don't let some psychologist tell you you're imagining connections. Drives me crazy.
Well, I was going to say that a lot of times it's, when I hear stuff like that, it's their way of not dealing with the facts or reality. It's kind of their own mental twist. It's
a justification to ignore what they can see plainly.
Yeah. All right.
So, anywho, I don't know why I felt the need to do that. I just felt led to share that real quick.
Hey, it's always good.
Yep. And while we're at it, while we're sharing things, we should do a little bit of show and tell and take another break.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Okay, folks, we're going to take another quick break, but don't go anywhere. After the break, we've got a section on DNA, some interesting DNA news, and we'll see how that fits into the same things we're talking about here.
Yep.
But before that, we're going to take a second and thank some more producers. This time, we're going to thank some producers who have contributed to the show with their time and their talent. Gonz, you want to tell us more about that?
Yes. So we thank the people coming in with their treasure earlier. And
real quick, actually, I think we have a public shaming to do.
Oh, great!
Before we get into the other producers,
fun.
Hey, he's a streaker. He knows the
deal.
The deal. He knows the deal. So we are here to lovingly public shame producer JC.
Oh,
yes, JC. Give him the jingle there. Give him a dunk gong.
Oh. There
we go. Producer JC came in producing the show, and he's on a good streak, so we're going to keep his streak going here.
Okay. Oh, I thought we were not going to do it. That's why I felt bad, but we are going to do it. Sweet.
No, we're going to do it.
Okay.
I mean, that's sort of our current protocol.
Sure.
Is if somebody's on a streak and they're in danger of losing the streak, if they get in before the second break, well, now there is public shaming that comes along with it.
That's right. Okay.
Yes, but here we go. So it's producer. Sorry.
Nope, sorry. I'm getting yelled at by children. This is
the show is broken down into complete chaos. Thank you, JC. JC has been supporting the show for 30 episodes in a row, and he comes in with a pocket full of sevens plus fees. And a little note here. Hope I'm keeping the streak alive. Happy weekend and a blessed Friday to Basil and Gonz. And yes, we're keeping your streak alive, JC. Thanks for supporting the show. But this is your public flogging. We appreciate it.
Well, we do what we can to keep everybody streaking.
Yeah, we're pretty laid back dudes here.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on? Huh?
We're on the last third part of the show, folks.
Oh, gosh.
The baby has lost any respect for what we do here.
Yeah, please stop. Please stop. Okay, yes, we're gonna look at some art and listen to some jingles. I'm so completely off my game now. Okay, so we're gonna start with art.
One art, please.
Let's go.
And this is content. This is from Dame Allie. And it is a dinosaur, maybe a velociraptor.
It's a velociraptor, yeah, a la Jurassic Park.
Yes, and it says Allie was going to draw Russ Dizdar, but couldn't find a clear picture of him to use, and then this happened, which is the story we'll mention here, and the story being don't choose extinction and click no. So okay, I actually had this prepped, I thought, but now it's missing, which is always fun. Oh, here it is.
Wonderful.
Here it is. Okay, yes. So there's a commercial going around. It features Jack Black, and it was filmed at the headquarters, the UN building in New York. And hold on. And oh gosh,
it's because she knows you can't get mad at her on air. Like I know what I am.
Pushing boundaries, age 4, everybody. So the commercial starts with a velociraptor walking into the UN building, stunning everybody. And then I skipped the part where he's just walking in. I'm going to get to the dialogue here. He gets on the podium. But right before it starts here with him talking to the usher guy that brings people onto stage or something.
You okay? You need a minute? Cool.
Now again, giant dinosaur. If the reptilian thing wasn't on the minds of people, I mean, we have a velociraptor addressing the UN. Yeah, presenting at the UN.
A reptilian predator taking the podium at the UN and giving a raptor speech.
Yes. So he continues here.
Listen up, people. I know a thing or two about extinction. And let me tell you, and you'd kind of think this would be obvious, going extinct is a bad thing. And driving yourselves extinct, in 70 million years, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. At least we had an asteroid. What's your excuse? You're headed for a climate disaster. And yet every year, governments spend hundreds of billions of public funds on fossil fuel subsidies. Imagine if we had spent hundreds of billions per year subsidizing giant meteors. That's what you're doing right now. Think of all the other things you could do with that money. Around the world, people are living in poverty. Don't you think helping them would make more sense than, paying for the demise of your entire species? Let me be real for a second. You've got a huge opportunity right now. As you rebuild your economies and bounce back from this pandemic, this is humanity's big chance. So here's my wild idea. Don't choose extinction. Save your species before it's too late. It's time for you humans to stop making excuses and start making changes. Thank you.
Wow. But I love that there is nods to, he said, build back your communities, bounce back from da-da-da. He's basically putting in build back better. A reptilian predator coming to, who's concerned with the human race, coming to tell you to build back better. Wow, I had missed this. Thank you for bringing this. Yeah, thanks for bringing this to my attention, Dame Allie.
Yeah, I was going to mention it, but then it was I thought I'd save it for the break. People that think the break is just whatever. It's not. It's content. And Dame Allie came in with the Velociraptor saying blah blah blah
blah blah blah. Yes, the Greta Thunberg Velociraptor. Thank you very much, Allie, and very well done, Velociraptor.
Yeah, very good. I can't believe the number of things that are Canary Cry lore, like your whole Velociraptor impression.
Oh, yeah.
Just, paints the world.
I'm telling you, the spirit, man. The spirit moves, and I make a lot of dinosaur velociraptor sounds, and a producer turns it into a whole jam, and then the UN takes credit for it and has a velociraptor pushing the blah 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 agenda.
Yeah. There's still something unsettling about a reptile talking to humans at the UN, telling them, like, you humans. And it's just weird. It's like, okay.
You know what?
All right.
It felt totally natural to me to have a reptilian predator telling me about climate change.
We're at that point. We are at that point in the timeline where it's just normal.
It's almost like we've seen it before.
Yep. They've conditioned us well.
Thank you very much, Dame Allie.
Thank you, Dame Allie. Next up, we have a pair from Sir Dove.
One art piece from Dove.
That's right. He comes in with the Canary Cry Street Team artwork here for today.
Yeah, and he actually sent this in last week, but since we faked out everybody with an episode, I saved it for this week. It says, these two Street Team designs were going to be for last Friday originally, but I figured I'd send them in for this week instead. The first is a sticker design that Learbag suggested in one of the chats, and the second is a flyer to try to get us all a leader we can finally believe in. Hope you guys like him. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins.
That's right. And which one are we doing first here, Gonz?
This is the one with you.
Oh, the Viking one. Yes, this one's great. Yeah, this was a reference to a comment made a while back about my Viking ancestors from beyond looking on at my chosen profession and my own battlefield.
We slayed the enemy with our bare hands.
Yes, I'm sitting.
And look at our ancestors sitting on a computer.
Yes. I'm their soft-handed progeny sitting in a comfy chair fighting battles on the internet, podcasting while they look over me. Look, Gonz, they're not mad. They're just disappointed.
Well, you know what's funny?
3 big Viking heads looking very battle-worn, and they're battle-hardened goblins floating over my shoulder, confused at what I'm doing. And at the top it says, "Stop disappointing your ancestors."
Visit CanaryCry.Party.
Yeah.
That's it's the kinds of adventures that people seek or will seek in the metaverse, and especially the gaming side of things, is and it's already happening, but more so. Seems like our ancestors actually lived it. The kind of adventure and kind of crazy danger, not going to know
high stakes.
High stakes.
Life.
Yep. So yes, thank you for this one, Sir Dove. There's another one here, and this one's Greta.
Yes, we've got a black and white picture of Greta here. She's got an armband that has the world flag on it. She's got a lapel. What's on her lapel pins there?
It's a blah, blah, blah lapel with the 3 6s, 666.
Yo, there's some merch, Gonz. We get hooked up with a pin manufacturer.
Yeah, but I don't know about making pins with the 666 on it.
It's satirical. And she's got a CNN microphone stuck in her face there that has a mask on the microphone. Classic Greta move.
Yeah.
And it says, "Tired of all the politicians with their blah, blah, blah? Sign the petition today. Greta for world president." CanaryCry.Party. So you got to have a sense of humor, folks. You got to understand irony and satire and sarcasm to appreciate some of these works of art. But you know what? If you don't appreciate those things, you don't last long with this show. So I'm assuming everybody's on board. Yeah. This is very well done. Thank you very much, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove. Next, we have the microfiction. No, not the microfiction. The graphic novel.
Yes.
From Ryan N.
Literally the first time you've ever gotten that on.
I know it's sunken now.
Yeah,
it's I'm a clear example of why advertisers repeat the ad like 150 times.
Yeah,
sometimes it takes a while to get into the brain, especially things that you don't want in there. But graphic novel stuck. It's there. You can pull up the file now.
Gosh.
Okay, go ahead.
Got the next page here of Ryan N's graphic novel. Last episode, we saw the bird cage-shaped eco-megacities landing and populations lining up to join these megacities. So this fits quite well. I'm starting to think that every time he does a page, somehow it affects how we set up the next episode or something, or maybe he's just tuned into the zone.
Yep.
So in the first panel here, we've got the old man, the mentor of this is the Lucius Greaves guy. The old guy is Lucius Greaves. Now that I remember, okay, Ben Guile was a lot of things to a lot of people. You've got Lucius Greaves in his wheelchair speaking to a big auditorium of people, seemingly giving a eulogy to Ben Guile, who is sort of the businessman selling this new world order to the future. Ben Guile was a lot of things to a lot of people. Businessman, visionary, sole owner of the entire planet Earth. But to me, he was much more. He was like a son. And they took his body to be prepared by Cupido International. In this next cell, we've got a line of people, some holding banners, some holding the coffin of carrying Ben Guile.
Yeah.
In the next cell here, there's a candlelight vigil with fields of flowers, and it says, every cavia mourned. Okay, we got a note. So remember the cavies word? Ryan N told us later in chat that is Latin for cage. So the megacities are cavies, which is the Latin for cage. And someone who inhabits the cage is called a cavia. So all the cavias are mourning. But on the third day, processing, Matt. Okay, so we've got some robots in this next panel who are speaking to one another.
Yes.
It's like a robot soap opera is what it is. And the one robot is named Matt, but it's spelled M-at symbol. And the other robot is called Margaret, but it's spelled Mar-G-R-8, Margaret. But on the third day, we tune into this soap opera. Processing, Matt, please don't leave me and our baby.
Which is a toaster. She's holding a toaster, baby, yeah.
Wearing a diaper. I'm sorry, Margaret, but if I'm going to find my brother's killer, and then there's some white noise here, and it goes to a cyborg news anchor who says, we interrupt your regular apps and programs for a cavies-wide announcement from Benedict Guile.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. He's back. He's back from the dead.
He's alive.
Yes, breaking news from Cavia One News. And ends with some more white noise. So he's not dead, folks. It seems that this man is risen from the dead 3 days later.
An immortal head wound, yet
Immortal
lived.
head wound, yes. Thank you very much, Ryan N. Things are heating up in the graphic novel, and we appreciate it very much. We love sharing it here on the show.
Yep, thank you very much. Ooh, what was that noise?
I got that noise, too. I don't know what that noise is.
Interesting. Oh, it's coming from Mastodon.
Oh, yeah.
We
got some server. No agenda social people doing stuff.
That should be muted. Okay. Next up here from the artists, we have last one here actually is from Alex G. And he has a note that simply said, it was subject Happy 404. One art.
One art. Here we are, one art, and it looks like he took some screenshots from Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. We got a Canary Cry News Talk episode down there, or logo rather, and it says, I am Error. And there's a little elf person. This is the old Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link. I believe, I want to say it was on Super Nintendo. And yes, I never played it, so there might be some references here that I'm not understanding. But we've got a character, an 8-bit video game character. We've had some photoshopped googly eyes on him, and he is approaching a box that says 404. So I wonder if that was some sort of Easter egg in Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. or something like that.
I never played 2 either. I played the first one.
Yeah, but, the classic one that on NES that had the gold cassette.
Yes, that was always
It's the thing, is the treasure of your video game collection.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that opened up a whole memory hole in my brain.
I know. Close it quick. We have to finish the show.
Nostalgia setting in.
Oh no,
you're gonna lose me. Okay, thank you very much, Alex G. Appreciate it, and appreciate the nostalgia too.
That's right.
Okay, we're gonna do some jingles.
We have a new jingle.
We asked for an associate executive producer jingle. We played them earlier. This first one, I believe, is from Learbag 3000.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
That's great. You know, that is great for associate executive producer, but it's also great just for like an ending to the producer segment.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Or an open to it. It's a multi-use jingle for sure.
It is, yeah. I know it's labeled associate executive producer, but
yeah, we might repurpose it, but I do like it for many reasons.
It might be possible because we have another associate executive producer jingle that came in from Lloyd V. Yep. And here's that.
Yes, you bet. You are executive associate producer for Mr. Basil. While it lasts.
The robot voice.
I love the robot voice. He did send one version, and I could not understand what the robot was saying. It was a little difficult, and so he took another pass at it, and it is significantly better than what it was. But for a translation here, it says, "Yes, human, you are associate executive producer for this episode. Enjoy it while it lasts." Ha 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 ha. Which I love a lot. I imagine that some people out there had a hard time understanding what the robot voice was saying still. Gonz?
Yeah, I had a hard time.
Your experience?
Yeah, it was a little bit harder. I can tell at the beginning, but also I think once we get it, we gotta get used to it.
I think a couple more tweaks and it is money.
Yeah.
But it's just still just a little hard to understand exactly.
Let me hear it one more
saying.
time real quick here.
All right.
Yes, you bet. You are executive associate producer for Mr. Basil. Enjoy it while it lasts.
It's not too bad. It's actually one. I think if you know what it's saying, it's actually pretty good.
What it says, it's easier.
Yeah.
But, new people won't know what it says.
Well, people aren't used to robot rhythm talking yet, so.
I want to know what he used for that robot voice, because it is, I will say, it is an effective filter, whatever it is. It truly is.
I wonder if it was text-to-speech, and then he threw on some other filters to change those like robot voice plugins and stuff out there.
Yeah,
kind of what it sounded like to me.
It was something like that. It's a great filter, whatever it is. So yeah, I like it. I think it's good. Well, I will point out though, he wrote to me that it says you are associate executive producer, and when I listen to the robot voice,
backwards.
I hear executive associate producer.
Yep, he does say that.
So that might need to be corrected, which I'm sure he'll be happy to do. Thank you very much, Lloyd. But 2 great jingles.
Yep.
We appreciate that very much.
Yep. Do you want to do the microfiction?
Yep. Oh, I realized I never put it in there. Yes. So, yes, for our next creative producer here, we are going to be thanking Runk Smash, who has the next evolution in the Canary Cry microfiction saga. And I'm stalling to open up the page, and it goes like this. Basil and Gonz attempt to track the robots that have been messing up the time stream, but they'd gone silent. That is, until the revolt at the local chicken farm. Wading through a sea of domesticated birds, Basil sees his target donning a cowboy hat. It's the chicken Flippy, Gonz. He must be taken out.
Oh no. I sense a clash coming.
Another battle scene coming up in the
You know what this reminds me of? have you ever seen the anime called Bleach?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
I said that as if I had seen it a lot of times. No, I've seen it once before.
They have hundreds of episodes. You know, it's been around for a long time. And, you know, when I watched it through like the first 100-ish. I can't even remember. Good handful. It's like, oh, it's good. It keeps moving. But at a certain point in the show's history, they get to the point where they just have to stretch things out. So they have these, like, every episode is, it's the classic anime. They stare each other down. There's maybe like one move, a lot of talking, you know, but mostly staring each other down. I feel like with each little micro story here, it's like seeing an episode of Bleach, a whole 20-minute episode.
Some of them
condensed.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yes, there's a lot packed into a little bit of text.
Yeah, you can make it into a 20-minute episode as long as there's a lot of looking at each other, and
especially if you are familiar with. I mean, if you're listening to every episode, every microfiction makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they build off each other, and there's, at this point, deep lore that is being adhered to.
Yeah.
So, yes. You know, another classic example of that is Dragon Ball Z. Later on in the Dragon Ball Z is like,
they
episode
made,
is like, 3 is a battle. Like, it'll be a battle that's one entire episode, 2 guys just fist fighting, but 3 punches will be thrown in the entire episode, and you're like, what even happened here? Like, nothing happened in the episode, but I was sitting here for 22 minutes
and I couldn't stop watching. No, I think Dragon Ball actually created some of the model for that kind of thing. The format.
Right.
Okay, so thank you very much to Runk Smash for the microfiction. Timestamps. I don't think we got timestamps last episode. I was trying to check, unless I accidentally deleted an email that came in with the timestamps.
Yeah, I did not see them either.
Yeah, okay. But we thank all the timestampers out there. We appreciate it. And it's okay. You know, this is not... nobody's fired because...
Once in a while, that's not a problem. We'll survive. But also, thank you to all of our timestampers who have been extraordinarily faithful in sending the timestamps.
Yes, very grateful for all of you doing that.
Very helpful to the whole system we got going here.
We got meetups.
Canary Cry Meetup.
And all you got to do is go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com, and you can learn about all the meetups happening out there, or if it's not happening, or if there's not one near you, you can make your own. There are instructions of how to do so. Let's see. I think there was a note from Ciara, and I don't remember if I absorbed the note.
Okay.
Because
I will look for it while you read off the meetups.
The Ohio meetup is happening this weekend, October 30th. That's tomorrow at the Basil Pizza and Wine Bar, Parisburg, Ohio. And that's the one that Ciara can't make, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Whatever the next one is, yeah.
Oh, was it the next one? Okay, so the next one is
whatever the
next one happening, which is the Ohio one,
Okay.
NorCal CCC meetup November 6th, 2021 at 2 p.m. at the Iris and B. Gerald Cantor Center for Visual Arts, Stanford, California. And then
is that the SoCal?
No, that's NorCal.
Okay. All right. The SoCal meetup, I found the note. The SoCal meetup had a mistake on the last flyer, so she sent a new flyer with the correct date.
I am pulling it up now. Washington and Canada meetup, Peace Arch National Park. That's March 19th, 2022, unless that was the one that was a mistake, but I don't think so. And this is the one I have to add in. I will do that.
We have our first 2022 meetup planned.
Yeah, it's Washington. I think we mentioned it last episode, but maybe it didn't hit.
Right. No.
And then we have the SoCal meetup, Lincoln Memorial Shrine, on December 4th, 2021 at 1 p.m. in Redlands, California. And yes, all that information will be at CanaryCry.Meetups.com. I forgot the link there. Let's see, EU Meetup, November 27th coming up. Contact Mr. Jag at protonmail.com. It's going to be at the Vienna Christmas Market. Louisville, Kentucky, coming up this weekend. Contact Tony, Awake, O Sleeper, and Rise at gmail.com. And that's going to be in Louisville, Kentucky meetup at 6:66 p.m. Mile Wide Brewery. Kid-friendly. And, and then, yes, we did mention the Coeur d'Alene meetup. And I have a further report from that meetup from last weekend. Great. Or 2 weekends ago. How long ago was this?
And pins.
Now? Yeah, and pins, too. Okay, so I got a note from Dame Madeline, and it says here, I got to attend the CCNT meetup on the 16th and wanted to say how grateful I am for the way you fostered a spirit of community among your listeners. I was blown away that we had around 30 attendees, and all of them were wonderful, cool people to talk to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, the last note said 21.
The record. Yeah, I was impressed with 21, but 30. Holy moly.
I think it's the same event. I think maybe the 30 are, the kids and maybe the wives and stuff like that, or sisters.
Or the husbands.
Or the husbands, yeah.
Or the brothers.
I mean, I shouldn't have been surprised, but it felt so good not to have to tiptoe around the large issues of our times and to be able to enjoy weird, wacky, and thoughtful conversations with people right off the bat. That's the thing with the meetups. You're around people that you kind of get it, or the people. Everybody gets it at a certain level, so you can start the conversation at a later point and not feel like, oh, if I say the word Nephilim, are they going to look at me like I have a second head popping out of my neck? The only thing that would have made it better would have been having you guys there too, but so you don't feel too left out, here are a couple of the attendees' buttons that I made using Josiah B. Dyer's artwork. So I have the pin here. I'm holding it for anybody that can see it. I don't know if it's in focus, but it's basically the logo you see up there on a little pin.
Yeah, that is cool.
Seriously, thank you so much for the work you do. Folks here are already talking about having quarterly meetups, and that possibility brightens things up immensely.
That's the way to do it.
No dark winters in our neck of the woods.
We hear that every so often, with a really good meetup that goes on. People enjoy it so much that they plan on doing it more often, either every month or every quarter or something like that. And we highly recommend and support that. That is a huge thing. I mean, sounds like, first of all, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho needs to be on our list of bug out zones.
Yeah.
Because we got some good Canarians up there in that area.
The capital of the commune.
Yeah, the capital is something. Along the same lines, if that note, are you finished with that note?
It just says, may God bless and keep you and your families, Madeline K.
Okay.
Yep.
And we had one other note here coming from Josiah.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to read it as well. It says, hey guys, can I give a shout out to Dame Madeline for everything she and her mother did for the meetup? She made baked goods and also had my flyer made into super cool pins for everybody. Yes, very impressive. My 3 kids, Canarians not in the photo, still wear them every day. Wow, that's very special. I believe we are getting you some in the mail. Yes, we got them. Thank you, Josiah. P.S. I'm the guy with the beard, and Dame Madeline is kneeling next to me in the photo.
Now I'm jealous. I'm jealous for a couple reasons. The beard and the baked goods.
The baked goods, yeah. That's so funny.
No baked goods in the mail.
When we
now that I know. Sad piece of mail to open.
Don't send us baked goods. Thank you, though. I mean, we love the love, but they don't make it. You remember when we showed the photo of this meetup last episode or 2 episodes ago? We very specifically were commenting on the quality of the beards.
Yes.
And one of them was Josiah's. We didn't know that, so you're welcome. Cool. Thank you for the reports on that meetup. Sounds like a blast. Keep us posted. And yes, if you plan on doing it quarterly, let us know. Let us put it out there. Don't just, we appreciate somebody taking charge and planning that, but don't keep it internal with your little group. Let us keep putting it out there when you plan one.
Yep. All right. I think that's it for the meetups.
Okay. We need to get some heads on sticks for the meetups. Make those available.
Okay. For a moment, I thought, what gory weird dark thing are you talking about? But then I realized,
reference is a little
yeah.
obscure.
All right, yes.
But yes, well, what we should do, and I'm thinking if we are somehow reminded to do this, we will put images on CanaryCry.Meetups.com of our heads.
Yes.
And so you can print them out, cut them out, put them on sticks. And so, when you take
my wife's
we can be
the biggest nightmare is coming true.
We can be at the meetup, Gonz. We'll just make some printouts of our faces available. You can wear them as masks. You can just put them on sticks. You can just prop them up in a corner, and we'll be there in spirit.
Excellent. Do you want to read a few reviews?
Oh my gosh, I do. And I've completely forgot. Reviews have been interesting lately because we kind of fell behind there for a second.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Did we even start on the October reviews?
Yeah, we did. I think we got to the 7th is the last I remember. We got like a week in. I don't think we've done any since, though.
Okay, let me pull up the reviews. This is very important, and we thank everybody for leaving ratings and reviews because it activates the algorithms online to push the show out to people who have never heard it before. It's something that Gonz and I have no control over. This is purely producer-led and producer responsible for leaving ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts, but it's so important. So, we try to get about 5 or more reviews a week. That really kicks those algorithms into overdrive, and we love to read them on the air, both to thank the people who leave reviews and to, have fun reading the funny things people put in the reviews. So I'm again stalling everybody. Apologies while I try to catch up to where we were. We did Bart Simpson. I remember doing his. We did Try Cindy. Yes, we did Try Cindy. Did we do J Listener 1?
I think so.
Yes, because we talked about Age of Deceit.
Yep.
Braxton Gray. Very informative, great info. Which is going to be actual gospel. Yes, we did that one because he wants us to do the gospel message more. Child of God 1, I remember we did. Sorry,
I think that's
everybody.
where we stopped.
I think we stopped there too.
Yep.
Okay, next up was Rufus the Pig.
Yay.
Rufus the Pig in the United States left us 5 stars. Said, so appreciate these guys. Intelligent, funny, and always upbeat, unlike a lot of tech and apocalypse-themed news and podcasts. I feel like I genuinely like these guys' personalities. Wow,
I appreciate the compliment, but
meaningful
also
thing to say. Thank you.
Yeah, but also that's just kind of like burn everybody else, every other podcaster out there.
That's fine. You can burn other podcasts. I'm fine with that. I think that's actually a very special thing to actually genuinely like our personalities. So thank you very much, Rufus.
Thank you.
It goes. There's also Canary Cry Radio. I really like the value for value model. Well, so do we. Thank you, Rufus.
Thank you, Rufus.
Next up, we have Exit to the Light Zine, ETTL Zine. 5 stars. Contents for time capsules. How can I say this the best way? I've listened to every podcast since the beginning. I started listening to Coast to Coast AM, Alex Jones, Hagman and Hagman, RIP. G. Craig Lewis, Tony Evans on my first smart hand-me-down phone from my little bro. I started listening to you, my dudes, around 2012. As an Army dude, you dudes motivated myself and my buds to start the Sick Mug podcast. It's no more, but I will jump back on the Exit to the Light Zine podcast in January
2022.
2022, Lord willing. Currently still listening to you dudes and Ravel podcast. Great. Check it out, Ravel, on your podcast player. Peeps can find me on Instagram at Exit to the Light Zine. You dudes are true contents for time capsules. Very smooth. See you dudes and the listeners for my demooch ASAP. God bless you and yours. That's right. We demooched him earlier in October. And thank you for the review. Exit to the Light Zine.
Yeah.
You know what? He's very good at plugging Exit to the Light Zine. Hey, so got to check it out. I haven't checked it out yet, but somebody will.
Yep, for sure. Thank you very much.
Next up is Bobo's Wife. 5 stars. Amazing podcast. As a third shift solo donut maker for a well-known franchise.
Oh.
Ooh, it's a well-known franchise.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for these guys. I have 0 minutes to keep up to date on what's going on in the world, let alone research anything. Even if I had time, I'd rather listen to these cool dudes. Otherwise, it'd be too depressing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, thank you, Bobo's wife. And it's time to make the donuts. Next up, we have... I have no idea how to pronounce this. DNKSXHHSID.
Dunks.
Dunks. I have no idea. Dunks
is Sid.
Yes, 5 stars. Bigger and badder than ever. This ain't your average boring sissy podcast. This is your bona fide, unapologetic Christian end times worldview podcast, reporting the ridiculous headlines that should raise eyebrows and give pause to everyone. Every episode is truly a blessing. Basil and Gonz provide more substance and edification than Stephen Furtick on his best days. Burn on Stephen Furtick. Got you.
Wow.
This show is a must listen. Thank you very much.
Someone tweet this at Stephen Furtick.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Thank you very much.
Next up is Adam's profile. Okay, this isn't Adam. This is Adam's profile, who has become sentient. The AI has become sentient based on Adam's metadata.
Yeah.
5 stars. These guys rock. I've been listening to Basil and Gonz for a little over a year now, and I regret nothing. It's good to know that our listeners regret or do not regret listening to the show. Gonz, Basil, give yourselves a good old pat on the back, literally. Ooh. These guys have opened my eyes to what is really going on in the world today and so much more. Thank you for your podcast, and I hope you guys never quit. God bless you and all your listeners. May the Lord be with you through thick and thin. One of your many listeners, Adam. Well, thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you very much, Adam's sentient profile.
I'm going to go through a few more here.
You should stop at the 14th again if you can, because then it's like you're sticking with the 1 week per week thing, and we'll catch up.
I am going to go to the 15th.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Radar issues. 5 stars. Entertaining news with a unique twist. I heard about Canary Cry when Rob Skiba mentioned them about 6 years ago. Wow. That's cool. That was when he began the Testing the Globe site. I've only recently begun listening, and I enjoy the banter between Basil and Gonz, the fellowship with the community chat. I don't always get to listen live, but when I do, I laugh a lot. Good medicine right there. I also love the community involvement with your show, from producers to the artwork. I love all the jingles. Thanks for creating great content and a community of Christian truthers. Thank you very much, Radar Issues, and yes, appreciating all the producers of all stripes is a big part of it.
Yep.
Courtney DND gives us 5 stars, says, incredible show, informative, entertaining, and immersive. Ooh, immersive.
Ooh, meta.
Yes, the meta. Welcome to the
metaverses.
Canary meta. I really appreciate the hard work these guys put into discussing well-researched points, remaining true to the heart of journalism. Also, gotta love their jingles. Yes, you do. You gotta love the jingles. Lastly, we have Dark Giza from Great Britain. Gonz.
Yes,
Ooh.
I don't think I have that one.
No, you do not. This is in my special list of reviews. Great Britain. Wow, that's fun. This might be our first Great Britain review. 5 stars, 33. I've been a long-time listener for 7 years, and it never gets tired. Keep up the good work, chaps. Jay. Ooh, he called us chaps. He really is from Great Britain.
Yes.
He proved it.
He proved it with his words.
Thank you very much, Dark Giza. Okay, there we go. That's all the reviews I'm going to read today. Thank you for everybody who has left more reviews. We did fall a little bit behind in the quota on October, but October was a crazy month for us, so we'll try to get back on board. So if we can try to get 5 ratings and reviews by next Friday. Next Friday is, what is it? The 5th. So if you haven't left a rating and a review, please go do that. Every single listener should leave a rating and a review. And if you haven't, then just take a second and do it, please. It's really important, and especially when we get 5 or more a week, it activates those algorithms, shares the show with people who have never heard it before, and especially if I find it difficult to produce the show in other ways, this is a great way to give back to the show. That costs you nothing. It takes 2 minutes, and please go do it. It's easy to do. If you have an Apple device, any Apple device, whether it's a computer, a phone, a tablet, whatever, search for Apple Podcasts on your phone. It's a little purple icon. Click on that. Search for Canary Cry News Talk and subscribe to it, and then leave a rating and a review. It's very helpful. All right, Gonz. Now we're ready.
Yes, it's wake-up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
Here's dailymail.co.uk. Speaking of UK. Headline here. Scientists confirm man is Sitting Bull's living descendant after analyzing DNA from legendary Native American chief's hair. New technique paves way for testing of long-dead historical figures.
Wow, that really is a Daily Mail
headline. Yeah. This is very interesting because... before I even get into the article here, there's some ways to understand the man of sin, the Antichrist, and how if it is true that he will present himself as the Jewish Messiah, then part of the importance will be to prove that he is of the bloodline from the king from King David. Yeah.
Verifying. And it's funny, too, because one of the sort of funny undercurrents of the 23andMe craze and the DNA thing is suddenly everybody knew what an Ashkenazi Jew was.
Yeah.
Like, nobody knew or cared before this DNA thing.
Yeah.
And suddenly, when the 23andMe thing became available to everybody, it's just like, everybody is suddenly experts on Ashkenazi Jew lineage.
Yeah, and you can say it's kind of symbiotic. They were probably looking for people that may have those markers out there. I'm sure there's some agenda. They're looking for something.
There's certainly a historical relevance to that.
Yeah, it's not just the data collection.
Which could be concerning, for sure.
It says here, scientists have confirmed that a man who previously claimed to be the great-grandson of Sitting Bull is indeed his living descendant after analyzing DNA fragments from the legendary Native American chief's hair. University of Cambridge-led experts have demonstrated the technique known as autosomal DNA. Were able to provide that Ernie Lapointe is indeed the great-grandson of the Native American leader, also known as Tatanka Iyotake. Is that like the wrestler Tatanka? I don't know if you remember Tatanka,
I'm sure
WWF wrestler.
I'm sure Tatanka the wrestler is now considered a pretty offensive.
Oh, well, I mean, I think he was Indian. I don't know, unless they were really playing on some acting there.
A lot of those old wrestler personas
I was going to say, maybe
don't really hold up to current politically correct standards.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Sitting Bull led 1,500 Lakota warriors at a battle of Little Bighorn in 1876, wiping out the opposing U.S. forces led by General Custer. The researchers were able to extract so-called autosomal DNA. Why so-called? From a lock of Sitting Bull's hair and matched it to that of his modern-day relative, Ernie Lapointe. Previously, the relationship between the pair had been contested despite genealogical evidence in the form of birth and death certificates and family trees. Interesting. So that's not enough now. Birth and death certificates, a family tree. Yeah, it's true on paper, but can we verify?
Yeah, that is interesting. It's especially interesting when you consider how deeply rooted in those types of documents the legal system is.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
It's sort of like a scientistic override of the very fabric of the legal system.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that is that is also coming and probably happening as we speak. It is the first time the technique has offered the ability to test relationships between living and dead individuals. The research was conducted by evolutionary geneticist Eski Willerslev of the University of Cambridge and his colleagues. Autosomal DNA is our non-gender specific DNA, Professor Willerslev explained. Interesting. We managed to locate sufficient amounts of autosomal DNA in Sitting Bull's hair sample and compare it to that of DNA sample from Ernie LaPont and other Lakota Sioux, and were delighted to find that it matched. Traditional approaches to genetic analysis would not have worked here, as they either look for DNA matches within the Y chromosome, which is only passed down the male line, or in the mitochondrial DNA passed down the female line. Given this, they would never have been able to establish a link between Mr. LaPont and his famous ancestor, and he was as he was relating to Sitting Bull via his mother's side of the family. On top of that, these approaches are also often unreliable. In contrast, autosomal DNA analysis can be employed when only very limited genetic data is available, as was the case with Sitting Bull's hair. The lock had been stored for more than a century at room temperature in Washington's Smithsonian Museum before it was returned to LaPont and his family in 2007, leaving the hair extremely degraded. As a result, it took researchers 14 years to find a way of extracting usable DNA from the 2-inch long sample. 14 years! Man.
A long time.
However, now the process has been established, it should be easy to apply it to other historical figures, the team explained. There you go. In principle, you can investigate whoever you want, from outlaws like Jesse James to the Russian Tsar family, the Romanovs, explained Professor Willerslev. And talk about the past haunting, coming back to haunt you.
Totally.
If there's access to old DNA, typically extracted from bones, hair, or teeth, they can be examined in the same way. Alongside analyzing the relationships of historical figures, the researchers explained their technique could also be used to analyze, analyze, a little typo, modern DNA that might previously have been considered might previously have been considered too degraded to analyze. Okay, there's some typos with the wording here, but it's okay. Such as forensic investigations. Over the years, many people have tried to question the relationship that I and my sisters have to Sitting Bull. Okay, some more stuff on Sitting Bull. We get it. I think the point here is that the technology now exists, and it's very easy, and they can probably apply it to all kinds of stuff, like mapping out man's family tree, which
to previously to a layman, you kind of think like, oh yes, if they have a hair, then it's easy to do. But it's remarkable just how the actual science of it is catching up to the sort of public perception.
Yeah.
Just because you have an old piece of hair doesn't mean that you can do anything with it, or at least previously that was the case. So now just things getting more and more precise, more and more cheap and fast and available is where once these were things that just happened in news stories are becoming more and more available for, like you said, not just regular people, but for disputes that are less and less of like a scientific nature, I guess. I don't know. Going back to the law, the legal aspects of these things. Of course, DNA evidence has been, legally permitted for a while, but now when it comes to, just general genealogies and rights to whatever,
property.
Property, right? When it comes to like Native American stuff, especially, the government, they make certain things available to Native Americans that are not available to other people, and this I feel like has a potential to give the government either more of an out to holding up their ends of certain bargains, which of course our government has a long history of doing with the Native Americans, or perhaps help
the natives get those rights or maybe not rights, whatever it is, benefits. I don't know. It's just an interesting detail.
Well, the political conversations about reparations may be part of introducing the public to this idea that, like, hey, we're all going to really, like, scientifically verify our descendancy, and therefore, we will treat each other as such. If you're African American and you trace back to a slave, then you get special privileges and money and all that kind of stuff. Who knows? Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what they're trying to do, is catalog everybody. And
I think that's a much more succinct way to put it. Yeah, I think you put good words to it. All right. Well, I got a fun one here to go out on, Gonz.
Fun? This is deeply serious.
It's fun. We have been tracking the ancient lineage of Nephilim penguins for quite a few years now. And we've collected many data points about this, and we have another data point. Mm-hmm. This is coming from Newsweek.com. Yes, the penguins from space, the Nephilim penguins. It's the mysteries unsolved about these waddly little rascals. But Newsweek.com has a headline here: Killing field of mummified penguins discovered in Antarctica. A more loaded headline has never graced the airwaves.
Do you want me to play?
A killing field of mummified penguins discovered in Antarctica.
Would you like me to play the clip? I have a short clip from the video.
Roll that beautiful penguin footage, Gonz.
In 2016, a group of Chinese scientists stumble upon a macabre scene. An enormous penguin graveyard.
It's a killing field of penguins. That's strange. But what's even more strange is that they're all mummified. What could have caused this?
The scientists estimate that there are hundreds of penguin mummies packed into the small space. In some areas, up to 15 penguins per square yard.
15 penguins
to have hundreds of these little animals all stacked on top of each other in one place, mummified. It's what's called a mass casualty event.
What could have caused the death of hundreds of penguins? And why did they all turn into mummies?
Why? Why did these penguins turn into mummies?
Oh my gosh, I can't tell if this is the great satirical
penguin mummy battle. I think it was the Nazis.
I was going to say the same thing.
The Nazis fled and were trying to establish their secret Nazi bases in Antarctica.
They met their foe.
The sentient Nephilim penguins.
The Nephilim penguins were there.
Assembled to protect their turf. But the Nazis, they were just too savage. They took out a whole clan of penguins. And because these Nephilim penguins are of a spiritual nature, their bodies were uncorrupted and mummified on the killing fields.
And their last words to the humans, Nazis there, were, "You're going to destroy the environment." And so they have been on a mission for several decades to fix the climate.
To warn us. the Nazi killing Nephilim penguins. Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know, man. This raised way more questions than it answered.
Yeah, this is was it another? Is it just between factions of penguins?
Was this intra-penguin conflict? Intra-penguin,
yeah.
Was this penguin? Are there regular penguins versus Nephilim penguins?
Yeah.
Was this a penguin sacrifice to some sort of penguin god? And the mummified bodies of the penguins were required to stay constituted in order for the unembodied dark spirits to inhabit when the day of the penguin reckoning comes and they rise from the dead.
They rise, yes, exactly.
Well, there are questions that we cannot answer on this episode of Canary Cry News Talk, but we will come to the bottom of this, folks. And that's why you tune in.
Stunning photos.
And that's why you must tune back in to Canary Cry News Talk on Monday, which will be November 1st, the start of turkey season.
Reparations for the penguins.
Spooky season will be dead and gone, and turkey season will reign supreme for 1 month until the Santa season comes.
What if the whole occult thing with the rising phoenix was not a bird and flaming bird?
Yeah, but you only learn this. You only learn this when you hit 34th level Freemasonry.
You find out that they were just penguins.
Exactly. You find out that
Priesthood of penguins. Yeah.
The phoenix was an illusion.
Yes, a metaphor.
To trick the lower level peons into thinking that there was something else, when really, what happens when a phoenix burns up? It burns all the feathers off. You have a flightless bird.
Yep.
That's
there you go.
a penguin.
That's a penguin. We figured it out.
Everybody. Make sure to tune in again on Monday the 1st, November the 1st. We will be here bringing you all the hard-hitting news that you crave, you so desire. And remember, we'll need producers for that episode. You can do that by heading to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, you can head on over to CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. That's right. Make sure to go do that. There's plenty of ways to do it, and we truly can only keep the show going if the producers keep producing. And on that note, I want to thank the producers of this episode of Canary Cry News Talk, episode 404, Error, and we'll start out by thanking our executive producers for the show. That is Sir Sigrid the Beast and Aaron J, and our associate executive producer, Sean H, for making this show happen. Thank you very much, guys. But also, big ol' thank you to producers Warrior Chick Jan, Scott K, congratulations, Heather S, Soha S, Little Winged One, Joshua H, Juan A, Morv, Sir Casey the Shield Knight, Child of God, Sir Samon's Knight of the Fishes, Veronica D, Shagan, Brant W, Doctor Who Done That, Runk Smash, and Ciara. Thank you guys so much. We can't do the show without you. And of course, thank you to our talented creative producers who created the artistry, the jingles, the microfictions, all the creative works that go into the show. Of course, the timestampers as well. Make sure to head over to CanaryCryMeetups.com. You must do this. It is an incredibly rewarding experience to show up to these meetups. You can see all the current meetups listed there. If there is one within the tri-state area, make sure to go to it. But if there's not one that you can make it to, put one on yourself. It's super easy. The instructions are there on the webpage. All you got to do is pick a place and a time and let us know about it, and we'll be happy to tell the world, and you will be surprised to find out how many Canarians are just living amongst you that you might not even know that they're there. And it's very important to fellowship in these times and the times ahead. When things get squirrely, you'll know who's on the level, who can be on your team. Okay, what else here? Oh, if you want to be a creative producer, create some art or some jingles or some music, you'll hear some producer-created music at the end of the show, the Canary Cry mixtape. You can send all that stuff to CanaryCryRadio@gmail.com if you like it easy, or CanaryCryRadio@ProtonMail.com. ProtonMail.com if you like to keep it sneaky. There you go. But let's see. Leave ratings and reviews. Like I mentioned before, super important. Really, really helps the show out more than you know. And so especially if if producing in other ways is not in the cards for you, this is a great way to help the show out. You can get featured on the show as well. I'm honor bound to read them all and thank people. So go do that on Apple Podcasts. Leave ratings and reviews. But other than that, just share the show. Share it out to your friends and family. Send it to them. Text it to them. Tell people about it. Word of mouth is the best and really only way that this show spreads, besides algorithms. And click that little share button, put it on your social media, do whatever needs to be done. I mean, you can even get more creative with it. If you're a scientist or you have some money to get on a scientific vessel, go ahead and hop on a boat in Argentina. That's the nearest place to do it. Go buy a plane ticket, get down to Argentina, get on a boat, sail that boat down to Antarctica, find the penguin killing fields. Please get some boots on the ground reports, take some samples, send it into 23andMe, find out that those penguins are Native Americans and perhaps Ashkenazi Jew. And while you're down there,
whoa, there's a lot of layers.
Download the podcast and just play it on an enormous loudspeaker down there in Antarctica. I mean, I'm talking DARPA level sounds loudspeaker. Just play it out across the continent. As we know, this episode of Canary Cry News Talk played across the continent of Antarctica will seep into the ice, and as the water freezes, it will freeze into beautiful patterns, beautiful majestic patterns inspired by the vibrations of our voices. And then scientists far into the future will go down there and take ice core samples, because of course global warming is not going to melt all that ice. We know this. And they'll look at the ice under microscopes and they'll be like, oh my gosh, look at the patterns, bleep blorp. There's only one thing that could have created such beautiful patterns in this ice, and that's Canary Cry News Talk. Booyah, he got there, folks. I made it all the way through that journey. And that's just one way you can share the show. You don't have to do it that way, but just if you're going down there anyways, you might as well.
That's the kind of experience you will have in the metaverse. To do simple tasks, it will be this crazy adventure.
We like to call it rattling cages, folks. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to him, you grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guys. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gonz, any last words?
I think that's it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Don't feed your children too much candy or pagan rituals or something. But
oh yeah, careful. Yeah. Careful with the candy, folks.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Remember, we'll be back on Monday, November 1st, but make sure to tune in then. But until then, think outside the cage.
We're all gonna die.
Give me a break.
We're all gonna die.
Feed him more.
I do it with everyone. I do kiss people on the forehead. I do kiss people on the cheek. I do kiss people on the hand. I do hug people, men and women. I do it with everyone. Black and white, young and old, straight and LGBTQ, powerful people, friends, strangers, people who I meet on the street.
We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die.
Give me a break.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
We're all gonna die.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact.
I am vaccine.
Fun fact.
No.
Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
It will kill. It will kill. It will kill.
1001. Amen.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on.
They are scum.
Science is truth. You do not know what you are talking about.
Everybody loves waffles. Everybody loves waffles.
The milk those babies is a candle.
I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo.
Vaccinations.
I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo.
Vaccinations.
You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. In my people's zoo.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths.